You are listening to a Dynamicworksproductions podcast. This show is available on iTunes, Stitcher Radio Network, and many, many more podcast services around the world. You can find all our content, music, videos, books, podcasts, and more on our website, www.dynamicworksproductions.com. Have questions, comments, or concerns for us? Head on over to the social tab on www.dynamicworksproductions.com if you'd like to talk to us. Now, on with the show.
Unmute.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome. I muted it because I was texting you that the fucking music was super overblown and glitchy, but
Okay.
It's fine. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Fork in Your Ear podcast. I'm your host, as always, author, podcaster, and gamer, Tim K. Trotter, joining us from the land that is sunny, and I just heard a very loud noise come from your end that sounded like the music glitching. The very pixelated, the supposedly decent internet, Nate Fu.
Yeah, anyone watching the stream right now knows that I'm not pixelated at all. Whatever. Yeah, you're right. It's my internet. Always blame the co-host. All good.
Well, there may be evidence to substantiate the fact that all of my audio problems that I've been having since the beginning of the year, this sound is not happening, Nate. I don't think this stream is working well, my guy. Your sound is glitching, dude.
I'm not even saying anything, dude.
Well, you're glitch saying something right now. I don't know what you...
I'm not even using
Oh,
CPU.
my God.
Like, what the?
Yeah, well, your CPU... The irony is when I look at your OBS stream, you look nice and crisp and clear.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know.
And I probably sound nice and crisp and clear, don't I?
You do sound nice, crisp, and clear. However, there is like an audio hiccup, and I hear like our logo mixed with you saying something for like half a second, and I'm very confused.
Our logo mixed with me saying something?
Logo music.
Right.
Intro music, whatever.
There's nothing
So
playing.
Listen, all I'm saying is if this episode is absolute ass, it's not my fault. It's all Nate's fault because I have a brand new shiny microphone. We have finally jettisoned the long-standing Blue Yeti class of microphones from this production after many years and foibles and them getting purchased by Logitech fucking them up, them not supporting Apple Silicon in the fucking slightest, their driver working for like half a year and then not working at all this year. It is now dead to me thoroughly. We might end up sending it to Nate in case his equipment keeps failing.
Okay.
Well, because it'll work with Windows, at least. But we are now running on a Shure... I might fuck this up because I just got it yesterday. We're running on a Shure MB7 Plus microphone.
At first I thought you got an SMB7 and I was like, wow, dropping money.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about that was this one was $250 cheaper.
Yeah, I was going to say not that the M7 is a bad mic by any means. It is every bit a
No.
sure
And I
made hit.
Yeah, and I did a bunch of thorough reviews on this one because
Mhm.
I was doing a toss up between this one and the MB7
Right.
Plus, specifically because the Plus is the same as the classic one, but they added USB and then also it has like a switch toggle on the back of it for something. I don't remember. I looked it up a while ago. But the price difference and all of that stuff. And I'm actually looking at the the Twitch feed because even though there's lag, I can at least see you in less than 1 frame a second. So I'm looking at
Crazy,
you
huh?
lag. This is going to be a weird show.
Hey.
um,
I mean, obviously,
But
as you
yeah.
were seeing, I have all the ups, just not going through Skype for some reason.
Yeah, sure. I do see that. It does look better than whatever Skype is shitting out to me. And for once, it's not my internet. My internet is actually giving me my 40 megabit bits per second up and my 800 down for the first time ever since I've been paying for it. It's usually about half that. So it's not my internet. It's certainly not my mic. As we will get into, but I feel it's worth show notes and housekeeping. Friend of the show, Daniel, was out here in person, and as many people know, if they pay attention on the show, he's been going to university for audio engineering professionally, and he had a real hands-on look with my setup and opened up the editor and did all of his fancy knows more than me editing tools. And he figured out the actual issue with the audio over the last 6 months, because whether you've noticed it or not, audience, to my chagrin, we have been primarily using Nate's audio
Mhm.
because
My combined
audio,
files, yes.
yeah, my audio appeared to have been losing time sync with his audio. And at least according to his analysis, it has been confirmed, and he fucking showed it to me. And it was obvious as day when he showed it to me in the editor that it's actually Nate's audio that is adding 2 milliseconds of lag every 2 seconds, like clockwork. We had an on-phone diagnosis thing and tried to sort it out. So, as far as I'm concerned, yes, it's all Nate's fault.
Okay. Okay.
It's okay. It's okay. I still love you, buddy. But I mean, think about how I feel when it's like, oh my God, it's audio hijack. Oh my God, it's this stupid fucking Yeti mic. Oh my God, it's this. Oh my God, it's this. And I'm like I've racked my brain. I've spent probably 100 hours
Mhm.
trying to fix this fucking issue. And someone who knows considerably more than me is just like, right there. Look at Nate's file. You see that little fucking jackknife down there? That's 2 milliseconds of lag. Look at it. I can point at it and it's right there. You don't have that. And I was like, ah.
Cool.
So, anyways, be all Nate's fault.
Okay.
But yeah, new microphone, new setup. Nate's having some technical difficulties today. We'll figure it out, I guess. Hopefully, or we won't. And this will be a missed show and only available on stream. So we are live streaming these now. So, like, without any further ado, let's spin the ring. And I wonder how close I need to get this to the mic. Because usually this. Oh, because the mic is way better. I'm gonna go real close. Tell me if you hear this. Is there a spin
Not at
noise?
all. Like, it was so faint.
Shit. I'm gonna have to.
You're gonna have to send me an
Shit, we're
audio
gonna have-
file to add to the
We're gonna have
soundboard.
to add that in post. Shit.
Send me a
Okay,
good file.
well-
I'll add it to the soundboard, and I'll shing it every time it.
Okay, we'll have to go back to a post episode or a prior episode and cut it out. I didn't even think about that as a problem. It's such a little problem, but I didn't actually pay attention to where we landed on. We have landed on video games. My God, a lot's been happening in video games. So we just
Discord is discording. Rolling up to the
scroll up
break.
A lot. Yeah, because we've been
off for we missed an episode because
4 weeks.
Things, yeah.
Yeah, we've been off for 4 weeks. Also Nate's fault. Well, it was. You were like, hey, I forgot we're going Great Wolf again. My bad. Okay, I'll stop bagging at you. I'm sorry. I feel like it's excessive now.
Is this payback for all the dad jokes?
Maybe it could be. Oh gosh, we're scrolling a long ways here. Long. Where the fuck is that? Oops, I have alarms going off for Jessica's lunch break. My bad. Where?
All right, I see.
We last did an episode. Okay, there we go. I finally found it. September 22nd. So people know, last episode, I got the iPhone 16 Pro Max. And as is tradition, whenever you upgrade an iPhone, or at least for me, I make sure to launch every single one of my games because chances are they're going to have fucking some kind of update or something because nothing plays natively on device anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I launched Homeworld Mobile, one of my favorite things because I'm a Homeworld guy. And it had closed down a month ago. And I was like, fuck. Well,
oh, it's gone.
Yeah, it's gone.
Uh-huh.
Delisted, no longer continued. It's sad. So on the one hand, I 100% want to still play Homeworld on mobile, as that's a good way to play a 3D space RTS, control-wise especially. And that one being an MMO variant of Homeworld definitely had some cool quirks to it. But honestly, if I'm speaking frankly, for as much love as I have for that franchise and even Homeworld Mobile, the developer used a really oddball, weird engine that Microsoft made like a decade ago to make the game, specifically because of its MMO capabilities.
Sure.
And it wasn't the best running game. And I think that really hurt it because for them being a live service game, they were not able to deliver content quickly, especially in something that on the surface, since it's a homeworld game, you basically have spaceships and you've got space backdrops and moon rocks. Like that, there's not a lot going on,
right?
Graphically, and they were just a little bum in the graphics department. So, but I don't know. It might not matter because at the rate cell phones are going, and we'll definitely talk about it. Playing native current console games, we'll probably get proper ports of the Homeworld trilogy to mobile. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
Homeworld 1 and 2 could run on my PowerBook G4 with 32 megs of GPU RAM and I think like a gig of memory. They can run on modern cell phones. Like it's not a problem, But rest in peace, Homeworld Mobile. You shone brightly. You're shat on by the community. And obviously you did not make your financial mark and got shut down. So post did a little bit of it, I think last podcast. I have definitely had time to play all of the AAA games on my iPhone 16 Pro Max. It's a really odd, hyper mixed bag because on the one hand, all these console games are 100% there. Some are there more than others, and some behave much like a Switch port in that it's all there, but it's running about as well as a Switch game that's struggling to run
Right.
a game, which doesn't make sense given how powerful an iPhone 16 Pro Max is. So I look at Resident Evil 4, more recent, looks terrible, looks absolutely god awful when you play it. Is the whole game there? Absolutely. Um, but it looks like trash. And I've got screenshots in our Discord to just show how just straight fucking pixely that bitch is. I don't even know what's going on. You compare that in sharp contrast to something like Withering Waves, which looks absolutely fucking gorgeous and runs at 120 frames per second. I loaded up Genshin Impact, which I hadn't played in a while, and I think it had a oh shit, you're not running this on an old phone, like hiccup because all the graphics went like shit. And then they had it was like a bam pop in to like Ultra HD 120,
Right.
all that sort of stuff. And then Assassin's Creed Mirage, which is indeed very impressive on the iPhone 16 Pro Max. And it definitely probably has some internal auto adjusting resolution because some parts look super really good. And you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm playing a full featured Assassin's Creed game on a mobile phone. And this is coming from the person who painfully played Assassin's Creed on Nintendo DS. So some real shoebox hardware there, and played the admirable but terrible Assassin's Creed 1 port on the PlayStation Portable. And even the what was the Assassin's Creed? There's an Assassin's Creed on PlayStation Vita that was probably the best 3D portable one that they had made. But anyway, this Assassin's Creed, what is it? Mirage, I believe it's called. And I've been having a good time with that, especially because it's all stealthy and there's not a lot of stealthy games. But again, the graphics like dip in and out. There are parts that are like, oh, wow, this is really amazing. And then there are parts where it's like, the graphics engine really cutting back on the resolution here in this particular scene. And then those itself are in sharp contrast to Death Stranding, which I've been playing the most of. And God fucking damn, Death Stranding stands out as I'm so much better than all of you other AAA games in terms of its native port to A series and M series.
Yeah, it's
stuff.
a hold my beer, I got you.
Yeah, it is a it's really weird because like when you launch it at first, there's a bunch of terrible on-screen controls, which totally work, but there are, it's mapped for a full PlayStation controller, so there's a lot of buttons on screen. It does have full controller support. It even has full DualSense support, which is primarily how I'm playing it in bed. To my knowledge, it's the only one that also supports like the proper haptics and force feedback triggers as well. But I've played it on Switch controller, I played it on Xbox controller, played it on PlayStation controller. Yeah, the Death Stranding is absolutely fucking remarkable. It kind of hits you with a, oh God, is this going to blow up my phone thing? Because when you first launched the game, there's a 7-minute load before anything happens.
Right.
Like every single time you boot up the app, it's like, okay, you want to start that one early and make your coffee or whatever you're going to do. But it's really weird because like after that load, like loading saves, changing environments is as quick as PS5 or any NVMe based thing. It's really odd. I don't know why it needs a 7-minute load. My guess I had to be a betting man, is because since it's the only game that's not Guerrilla made and Horizon Zero Dawn, that there's probably some kind of compiling of something for
Right.
the graphics engine, because the graphics in this game are every fucking tiny drop bit as good. And I want to be very specific here because I've played Death Stranding on PS4, PS4 Pro, and PS5. They are every bit as good as the PS4 Pro version, which for a fucking device that's as thin as a pencil
Mhm.
is absolutely fucking astounding. And given the quality and just the absurdness of the real-time graphics that are going on because of Hideo Kojima's perfectionism, it's my, hey, look at what my phone can do. Like, it's what I used to show like my friends and stuff and be like, people are like, fuck. And I showed it to my good friend Brock, who is a Hideo Kojima fan. And like he's watching the intro cutscene and stuff. And I was like, this is real time, by the way. And he's like, what? This isn't like streaming from the cloud? And I was like, nope. This is being rendered on the device. And the cutscene, it's a perfect showcase because it has super ultra high quality intro and then a bunch of cinematics, and you think they're fake, and then the camera pans around, and then the on-screen controls come up, and you're like, oh shit. And you like move it around, and it's like, what? And it's remarkable. And I'm personally playing it because it's a spooky game and it's Halloween season. And I also never finished the game, which I feel bad about, being a diehard Hideo Kojima fan. Like, I have t-shirts and everything. So my plan is to play up to wherever I left off in the PlayStation version.
Mhm.
So that I'll be fully acclimated. I'm playing on the PlayStation controller. And then by the time I get to that, I'll just swap over to the PlayStation version and finish
Gotcha.
it from there. Unfortunately, there is no cross save, even though there's apparently cross save between PC and Mac, which is interesting, especially because Death Stranding like has its own in-game cloud save system on
Right.
PlayStation.
I wonder if it's one of those stupid account things.
I think it's a Sony thing,
Mhm.
since it's published by Sony, and they're like, nope. They're staying on PlayStation. Yes, we have this other version. Yes, we're profiting from it, but the PC and Mac people can all just do their thing. But it has the knock-on effect of, I've played this game before. I played it when it first came out, and one of its unique components is other people, even though it's a single-player game, other people are able to like build stuff and put it into the world when you sync online.
Right.
That help you on your advanced walking simulator routes, which is what the base of the gameplay is traversal. And so the first mission, I was like, oh, cool, a rope. Oh, cool, a ladder. Oh, cool, a bridge. This is totally is way easier than when I played it on day one and none of this stuff existed.
Oh,
'cause people
cool.
hadn't-
A stick.
Yeah. There's a game I was playing recently. I think I texted you about it.
Yeah. Zelda.
I don't know. Oh, yeah. And don't let me forget about that,
Yeah.
because that's a thing. But yeah, Death Stranding is by far the most impressive. Plays great, looks great, runs great after the 7-minute load. Even the touchscreen controls are admirable. They allow you to reposition them, change their size, density, move them wherever the fuck you want.
Right.
Which is good because I'm a big fan of games that allow you to do that rather than cluttering your screen with, how many buttons does a standard controller have? Like 28? 28 inputs and sticks, and
4,
so all
5,
that's on the
6,
screen.
7, 8 buttons. Two
Yeah.
analogs.
Then you got to separate the analog clicks out. So
Right.
there's another touchscreen buttons.
Yeah. That's the 8. You get your 4 face buttons, your 2 clicks,
Mhm.
2 shoulders, and then you've got your analogs. So you got 2 triggers and 2 sticks.
Yeah. By the way, your Skype video suddenly
I
decided that it
saw
was
it.
good.
Yeah. I saw it happen in real time because I was looking and I'm like, oh, that is kind of pixelated. And then the screen went, rip, and
Yeah.
been fine since.
But yeah, despite the full purchase price of Death Stranding, by far being the most expensive of these AAA games, Assassin's Creed was like 25, I think.
Yeah.
30, something like that. It was reduced. Resident Evil was reduced. And I wanted to make one caveat on the Resident Evil thing. I did boot up Resident Evil 7 as well. I have 8, but I haven't actually played 8, so I didn't really want to jump into that just yet. Because I never beat 7 because I played it in VR and I got to the spider scene and I'm scared of spiders and in VR and I was like, nope, and I threw the VR headset across the room. So we'll see. Resident Evil 4 specifically looks bad. I booted up 7 and 7 looks like just as crisp as you would expect playing on a console. And I'm just like, well, why does 4 look like trash and 7 looks great? Like what the hell? So there's definitely some odd optimizations happening on Capcom's end, which is interesting because they just announced last week that Resident Evil 2 is coming to iOS and macOS this December, actually, which is the oldest of these rebooted new Resident Evil engine powered Resident Evil games. So who knows? Who knows? They obviously must be making some money to them, or they have some sort of contract with Apple. Who knows? Because at this point, all they need to do is port 3, and then they're completely caught up. Apart from the older games that haven't been remade, but I suspect if they've already gone this way on all the numbers, probably they're gonna remake, 5 and 6, and especially 5 needs it. So we'll see on that. But I'm having a good time. In terms of something that I wanted to point out, because I've looked at a lot of data about this, specifically on the iPhone 16 Pro series, it seems to have eliminated a lot of stutter that was pointed out by Digital Foundry and other analyses of these AAA games. So if you want a AAA game on your phone, these are the way to go. And my wife just texted me, today is the worst, and I'm going to Total Wine and More. Okay. Those are things. So yeah, gaming on the 16 Pro, and then just for Nate Pool here, apparently there was some more DLC added to Shredder's Revenge.
We talked about that one. I think caught the tail end of it, but yeah, I saw it.
If we posted it on 9/24 and our podcast was 9/20, we might have talked about it personally.
Maybe. Okay. Yeah, I saw that. I'm like, okay. It looks like they kind of brought in some Kirkland brand Battletoads into the game.
Kirkland brand Battletoads. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, oh, I mean, at least they're putting content in. I don't know that it's moving a mark for me. I actually haven't played that game in forever, just no reason other than, oh yeah, I have it. I forgot about it.
Sure. And it came out, God, what, 3 years ago?
Something like that, yeah. And I played the crap out of it and unlocked everyone and max leveled them. So I was like, okay, I don't know that I need to do anything else.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So you were excited about this. Microsoft is moving Game Pass into a single Xbox mobile app.
I don't know about excited. It was, and I think my comment on that was, it's about freaking time that I don't have to open up 2 different apps to juggle my Xbox library.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
Yeah, I never understood why they're split. I mean, I know the function on their apps is more limited on iOS, but at the same time, like, why do I need 2 apps?
Right. And it makes me wonder with the timing of it and the news that, all the lawsuits and everything, if it had something to do with the game store being able to purchase things versus being able to play things. that now that there's less hurdles to that, and you can actually link out to other ways of purchasing a game, that they can combine the two. Like, that's the only thing that makes sense
No.
at this point, because other than that, like, why having them separate? Unless, again, the cloud app had some sort of the render engine or whatever that
I
heck
don't
was
think so.
built into it. Like, it just,
I don't think so. Purely based on the fact that, you know, on iOS it runs in a browser, so it's not loading shit.
right. So yeah, it never made sense other than
Yeah.
because reasons,
Yeah.
right?
Agreed.
And like, I had the Xbox Cloud or the xCloud app, and then I had the xCloud beta app, which at that point were basically the same.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Xbox app. So I'd get a notification, and it's like, oh, which one of the Xbox app is asking me for a login or a sign in or something.
Yeah. No,
So,
for sure. There was a PlayStation State of Play at the end of September. I'm only going to cover a couple of things here because it wasn't super exciting. There is a couple bits of exciting news. They announced Ghost of Yotai, which is the sequel to Ghost of Tsushima.
right.
New Island, New Era.
Mhm.
Takes place 100 years later than the first game. You do not play as Jin Sakai because the man's probably dead, story-wise. You play as a female Ronin hunter
Mhm.
who is hunting down disgraced Ronins, which is very interesting
Cool. So you play
because the
Hawkeye.
sure. Sure. Game looks gorgeous. It's made by Sucker Punch.
Good studio. Yeah.
Up here in Bellevue, Washington. You know, a bunch of white boys making the most detailed and authentic Japanese historical game. And doing Japan proud.
Mhm.
First game was phenomenal, so I'm actually looking forward to this one. People, of course, already on the internet have been like, "Oh my god, Assassin's Creed is doing feudal Japan, and they have a woman and a black samurai, and now Ghost of Tsushima is going woke too." And I'm just like, "Oh my god,
Can we just enjoy a
stop."
game?
Like, I don't know whether the whole black samurai thing is true or not, an Assassin's Creed thing. All I know is that it got delayed to next year and it's launching in Black History Month, which seems like a choice. Seems like a choice from Ubisoft, that's for sure.
Which,
You
and
know,
again, every time I keep hearing these, up in arms about something about their video game, the question remains, but is it good?
exactly.
And that's all that matters to me.
Yeah.
You
And I've
know,
long since said on podcasts, I would much rather play as a female protagonist in a video
right.
game than a male. Because that's what I prefer to look at. That's what I prefer to role play as.
Right.
Maybe that says something mentally about me. I don't know. But I've been fine with it.
The problem with Concord wasn't its
long time.
diversity. The problem with Concord was it was a bad game.
Yeah. And the problem with Concord was that it did not sell itself.
Right.
To its death.
Right.
To its death. But anyway, Ghost of Yotai happening, female main character, looking cool. The Reddit tinfoil hat people have already made some ridiculous joke about the specific time period where Assassin's Creed Shadows is taking place and Ghost of Tsushima Yotai, and like they're being like, "Hey, could the Yotai main girl be the mom of the Black Samurai in Shadows? Because the timeline fucking adds up or something like that." And I was like, "That is internet."
Well, where there's a complaint, there's someone on the internet.
That is true. That is true. Speaking of kind of a complaint, this is long rumored, now officially confirmed, comes out next week, I believe. There is indeed a Horizon Zero Dawn remastered That's right. A remaster of a PlayStation 4 title that came out in 2017 for PS5. And here's what I'll say that's good about it. They're switching to whatever upgraded version of the engine they use in Horizon 2. They've done the whole Spider-Man thing where they have face swapped the character model with that of Horizon 2. And at the very least, for people who already have Horizon, it's only a $10 upgrade.
Right.
I applaud the $10 upgrade. Digital Foundry did a look at this, and the actual graphical overhaul and gameplay overhaul that they're adding to does actually look to be quite substantive, and will make for a better Zero Dawn 1 experience. The thing that gets real Sony money grabby is the second this was announced, the on sale base price of Horizon Zero Dawn on PC and PlayStation went all the way up to $70 for a game that's 2017. So if you didn't get it on the cheap, or you didn't get a cheap disc, fuck you. Go buy the remastered version.
They are milking you for all the nostalgia berries they can. And speaking of complaints from the internet, can we all agree as a community and as a game development community that there needs to be a certain amount of time that your game exists before it can get remade or remastered?
Yes, I do agree that there needs to be a certain amount of time. A good example of remakes or remasters that get people excited are those Tomb Raider ones that just got announced out of the blue, of them doing 4, 5, and 6. It's coming out in November, and it's a big deal because it's like 5 or 6 was only ever released on PlayStation 2 and ran terribly. So people are excited to hopefully play that in a state that was better than it was. But those games are like 20 years old.
Right. They're deserving of a remake or remaster.
Yeah,
because again, the game was good, and they were only limited by the technology they had at the time.
Yeah,
right?
Well, and I guess they were locked into PlayStation for whatever reason at the time. Because usually they released on PC back then. But whatever.
Again, not to do a weird corollary on that. It's like, yeah, you see the Star Wars remakes, and you're like, yeah, okay, like I can see, like you may like or dislike them because the story changes, but visually, much better.
And you're talking about the games, right?
No, the original trilogy movies.
Oh, but they weren't remakes; they were remasters.
They were remasters. Could they be a remake with
cast.
There was a new cast member. Remember, they took out one guy, kind of an important guy, the Emperor. Completely different character from the original. And they put in, what's his nuts?
Ian McDiarmid.
Ian McDiarmid. They put him in.
Because wasn't it only for Empire Strikes Back? It was Ian McDiarmid in Return of the Jedi, wasn't it?
Nope.
Originally?
I don't think so.
I thought it was.
Well, maybe it was. But I
thought it was Empire, because you only see the Emperor once.
Yeah, in the Hollow.
Yeah, and that one was changed.
Right. And then, of course, you have, Anakin changing.
Sure, yeah, Force Ghost, all that shit.
Right, Force Ghost and all that. So I guess you could say it's a little bit of a remake at that. But yeah, that aside, it is much more pleasant to watch visually because of technology that we have now. And so I, again, I say the same thing about a good game that was just kind of hamstrung by technology and marketing or whatever. Go ahead and remaster that and give it back to us. Hell, Master Chief Collection. The original Halo CE. It's remastering. Phenomenal. I can't say it. You know the word I'm trying. Phenomenally beautiful.
Well, we'll definitely talk about Halo and remakes coming
Yep.
up.
Yes.
So Sony hates their consumers,
Mhm.
and they've started putting big ass fucking ads in the home screen. I didn't want to believe it was true, but oh boy, is it fucking true.
Oh, is it egregious?
I mean, it's easy to like tab to the right, but it's the first fucking thing you see when you log in now.
Is it at least selling a Sony product, or is it like ad
No.
for gamer subs?
It's the games and just whatever, I guess. I assume you pay to be in that slot.
Okay, so it's no different than the Steam launcher. Every time you open it, and a pop-up comes up in front of the whole damn thing with the latest, greatest, whatever that no one has a problem with.
That's true.
Isn't it though?
That's a good, very astute of you, because that has definitely, it's Steam. Like at this point, you know, fucking 30 years later, it's like, yeah, you launch it, you click that ad off, and then you're in Steam.
Yeah,
that's true. You're not right. I can't even.
I'm not
be mad
right.
About that
what do you mean I'm
comparison.
not right? You're not wrong. But yeah, and again, yes, you said it wrong.
Did I though? He says trying to cover his tracks, not remembering what he said 2 seconds ago.
It's on tape now. Anywho.
Oh, okay. Well,
but yeah,
just throw
again,
a couple magnets into your studio then if it's on tape.
It's on wax.
Yeah, there you go. Vinyl.
But yeah, again, if it's like, oh, we're trying to sell you upcoming releases or whatever in our own environment, I have less of a problem with that than I would have more of a problem if you launched the Sony store and it's like, go watch Paramount Plus or the blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, don't try to sell me a subscription to whatever your TV service is or.
Except when you open the PlayStation Store, those ads are there.
Okay.
They've been there since the PS3.
That I have a problem with.
Yeah.
Well, is it trying to get you to the service or just the app? Like, hey, this app is available.
Yes.
Okay. That's gross.
It is.
Right. But yeah, trying to sell games on a game console, I don't have a problem with that.
Sure. So the general consensus from the world is that the PS5 Pro price of $700 is too goddamn steep.
Mm-hmm.
Pre-orders still available everywhere. Compared to not being able to find an Xbox Series X and not being able to find a PS5.
Right.
Or for that matter.
But that custom
17 not being able to find a Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, that custom PS2 version. You know,
those are sold out.
Gone.
Yeah.
Bot farmed before you could even get your fingers on them.
Sure, absolutely. Already going for 1,500 and 2,000 and stuff like that. Yeah, absolutely.
Again, and Sony shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah, and I think the biggest knock against the PS5 Pro, even though on a technical level, Digital Foundry and Moore's Law is dead, has gone out of their way to be like, it's technically not a ton of money for the performance bump you're getting compared to PC. They're like, but people have obviously spoken because it comes out in like 2 weeks or something, right? And the fact that you'll probably be able to see this on the shelf and grab one if you want one is a big thing. And whether or not that changes the forward moving strategy from Sony for their next generation of console, hard to say. Hard to say.
And on that, like, I don't currently have any PlayStations. I've never been in the PlayStation world. Wasn't my thing.
The big counterpoint to that, not to completely cut you off, but all the good PlayStation games have come or are coming to PC for you.
Right.
If you really want to, you can play the new God of Wars. You can play the new Last of Us. You can play the Spider-Man. Spider-Man 2, by the way, was just shadow dropped announced for PC yesterday.
Right. And even if it's eventually, like if it's not day and date, eventually I'll get to, which is that's a whole different thing. But if I didn't have a PlayStation, my current case, I don't.
Mhm.
The PS5 Pro isn't that bad of a deal because I've been listening to
That's fair.
a lot of people that are just like, I have a PS5.
Mhm.
To get a 2 terabyte internal NVMe is going to be $250.
Yeah,
So,
I think the real shot in the foot with that one is, as the person who likes to have gaming storage,
mhm,
um, I'm the guy who bought the 2 terabyte SSD expansion card for the Series X,
right,
and I have a 2 terabyte NVMe installed in my PS5 because they
right,
let you install not all, but most stock NVMEs,
mhm,
which is great because the base PS5 has a paltry 600 gigabytes of internal storage, just not enough. Um, but would I like to have a 2 terabyte in the internal? Yes, sure. But it's also like, well, I already spent the money for my 2 terabyte. Like, I'm already running things off of a better SSD that I put in this device myself. And frankly, and really, I think because I have a Series X, the fact that a PS5 Pro is giving you on paper 15% more performance
right.
and better ray tracing. And the
Yeah, well, I mean,
unquantifiable AI upscaling.
case in point,
That's not
your
enough.
existing PS5 with your hard drive upgrades. What do you think you have invested in your current PS5?
Oh, my current
Yeah.
PS5?
Base price of console, all the upgrades, all the things you've done to it.
So I got the digital edition, so I don't even have a disk drive.
Mhm.
Trying to think what those cost. Are they $100 cheaper? Are they? Hang on, let me
I
just
think they
look
were.
real
Yeah.
quick.
It's 50 or $100.
Digital edition PS5. They are. I don't want the slim because that's past me. Where's Amazon? What's the Amazon saying? Okay, Amazon price on the PlayStation Store on Amazon is $500 for the digital edition. So
Mhm.
then the disc one was 300 or 600. So I paid 500 for my console. I paid SSD. What did I pay for the SSD? What do I have in there?
While you look that up,
Samsung?
I got to go get my kiddo some water. I'll be right back.
Okay, you do that. I will vamp since we're live. You know what? I'll just fucking sign in. I'll just sign in to my fucking Amazon account and look up the goddamn order. How about that? How about that? Signing into Amazon. Killing time while Nate feeds his daughter. Pasting codes from my phone. Orders. Excuse me, folks. SSD. I bought the Samsung 980 Pro SSD with heatsink, 2 terabyte. Right now it's 150. So this list was 230. So, and I've had it in there for like 2 years. So I probably paid 230 for it. So 230 plus 500. So 5, 6, 7,
Carry the one.
750.
Yeah.
750 is what I've spent.
Huh. Isn't that conveniently
that.
close to what the existing PS5 Pro is?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So again, for someone,
Well, and I bought an extra controller, so that's another. Well, I bought mine before they jacked up the price. So
right, but
$60.
but still, like I'm not adding that because the current one doesn't come with that.
Yeah, that's right. It
So,
doesn't come with that. It doesn't come with shit.
Right. It'd be different if it, if the new one came with an extra controller and you'd be like, oh, well, that would be another value. But still, it's
Sure.
on parity for someone like me without a PS5, I could buy the PS5 Pro. I know people that have the current PS5 that don't have all the upgrades that are like, I could buy my
That's fair.
NVMe, I could buy all that stuff, or I could buy the better PS5 with that 2 terabyte NVMe already in it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not as egregious. It's still kind of gross, but
Sure.
you start looking at the math behind it, and you go, huh?
Yeah.
Maybe it's not so bad.
Well, let me ask you this: money aside,
Mm-hmm.
what would genuinely entice you to buy a PlayStation console?
Game library.
Given that game library?
Yep.
Okay. Are there games that you've had your eye on that you're like, I want to play that?
No,
But
which
it's
is
not
why I don't
available.
have a PlayStation.
Oh, there's not.
Yeah, which is
Okay.
why I don't
Oh.
have a PlayStation. But that
Fair enough.
would be the enticement. Like, yeah, the bells, whistles, teraflops, those are all great. Again,
Sony doesn't want you to use the word teraflops, Nate.
Sure. What are they?
It's true. They will tell you not to.
Right. But yeah, like all that stuff is, that's selling points for people that don't, that care a lot about that and really don't know what it means.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean,
they want to say, my dog's better than your dog kind of thing.
well, and a lot of people have been like, oh, well, when Grand Theft Auto 6, comes out, this is really going to push the sales of the PS5 Pro because it'll run best there. And I was like, yeah, it probably will run best there.
Well, what does that
However,
mean? What does best mean? 2 frames per second?
But I would also point out, Rockstar Games, like, they know how to optimize a fucking game maybe better than any developer on the fucking planet.
Nintendo would like to have a word with you, but yeah.
Oh, wow. I'd say Nintendo caught up to Rockstar. How about that?
Yeah.
That's what I'll say. But it's true. It's true. Yeah, let's move on from that. So, a little bit of bad news for Bloodstained 2, which is, of course, the kickstarted Itagaki, not Castlevania that the fans have been clamoring for, side-scrolling, successful. In fact, I saw a thing. There's a huge update coming to Bloodstained 1 like next week or something with like a whole ass other campaign. And I was like, what? Like, anyway, totally disrelated from this announcement. But unfortunately, Castlevania veteran Shutaro Ida has stepped down from Bloodstained 2 development following his cancer diagnosis. This is kind of a big deal because he's the designer of these games that we beloved so much. He made a statement that said, I, Shirotu, also known as Curry Boy and Curry Sage, have been diagnosed with cancer. I've now begun my battle with the disease. We're already discussing the sequel to Bloodstained, and I have various ideas for the game, but from now on, I will have to hand this work over to others. Thank you for your support.
I'm assuming it's being left in capable hands, otherwise it would just be done.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing with the Bloodstained team, Play Arts, I believe they're called, is Konami wasn't making Castlevania games for some reason, so they had this whole Castlevania team that had been making Castlevania games since PlayStation 1, Game Boy Advance, Nintendo DS, Nintendo 3DS, and then they're just like, yeah, we're just not going to do them anymore. And there's like a whole ass team of like 50-some people, 80-some people, and they're like, well, I guess we quit and we're just going to form our own studio and keep making what we love making. And I believe it was the highest funded Kickstarter of all time when that game was funded. They made their mark in like 24 hours or something ridiculous. And then 4 years later, they delivered a very amazing, buggy, but amazing product that they fixed the bugs on later. So yeah. And then producer of the series, Itagaki, who is like known as being the the guy. He said, up until now, the Castlevania series and Bloodstained have produced primarily by director Shutaro.
Right.
They can truly be called his works. This is a great blow that he is stepping away from the project, but we will do our best to make up for this. We hope that he will recover soon so that we can work together again. And this comes off of historical knowledge of the fact that Bloodstained 2 was in pre-development stages in 2021. So it sucks. We wish him the best. Obviously, wish him to get through cancer. And yeah. So I fell into another city building game on mobile. And it was purely because me and the wife started watching Snowpiercer season 4.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, man, I wonder if there's like some kind of Frost themed survival game out there. And there's a few.
Mhm.
And I've already spoken about how I played Whiteout Survival and stuff like that. And it just so coincidentally happenstance that me and the wife were watching Snowpiercer season 4, and like 4 days before this, the mobile version of the critically acclaimed PC title Frostpunk
Mm-hmm.
launched on iOS and Android. And I thought to myself, I've heard good things about that game. Fuck it. I'll download it.
Right.
And my understanding of this is that it is basically a direct port of Frostpunk 1, because I guess Frostpunk 2 just came out at the beginning of September,
Mm-hmm.
with online multiplayer freemium mobile shit sprinkled or injected into the basic mold of the first PC game. So far, none of that stuff seems egregious.
Mm-hmm.
Game runs well, looks good, and has a lot of unique things that obviously, I mean, it is Frostpunk 1. Like, when I look up guides for things, I can look up a guide for Frostpunk 1 and be like, how am I doing? How do I need to do?
Right.
And apart from some interface differences, I can figure it out, which is great.
It's how a good port should be.
Agreed. Yeah. And it's apparently been in early access for like a year already. Because when I stumbled into the subreddit, there was all kinds of stuff about the way things were and were tweaked and stuff. And it's supposedly out, even though the game still says early access on it when you load it up. But it's an interesting survival game, because there's like a whole political aspect to it. And like, in addition to like keeping your settlement from like dying of cold and starvation and stuff, there's also like, you're like making deals with like different factions, and you're kind of put up as like the leader and a captain, and then later like the mayor and stuff of the town.
Right.
Like you got to like run for an election and shit. And there's like a whole other socio-political aspect to it that is quite fascinating.
Yeah, and again, I remember when, the SimCity franchise started introducing that, your mayor and public services and all that stuff.
Mhm.
It can be done well and be a compelling part of the gameplay, or it can be done horribly and just be like, oh, look, another thing I need to click on, another whatever currency I need to go collect, right? Another fetch of some sort.
There's definitely that in the game, but given that it's a city building game and it doesn't really have like a combat system. Like you're building a city and you're surviving and you're making choices centered around survival.
Right.
And there's like a thing where it's like, oh, you sent these people, they won, they lost, your approval rating has dropped 2 points or whatever.
Right. Or the cost of whatever resource you were trading with them has gone up in price. right?
Yeah.
Or down, as it were. But yeah, again, it can be like that kind of stuff can be put in and be compelling,
Yeah.
and be part of the narrative, which from what I hear,
Yeah.
they've done
It has a narrative,
yeah,
which is
it's
interesting.
and it's done very well, where the choices you make isn't like, well, I'm just going to choose to pick from the red guy. You pick from the red guy, the blue guy is going to be mad,
Mhm.
right? And you start going down
Yeah.
a chain of build, and it's like, oh, I should have been a lot nicer to the blue guy.
Well, and it's more nuanced than that, or nuanced than
Once,
that,
yeah,
my bad. There was like one where there's like a mine shaft, and I had a choice of like pressing people to work through the night to get
right.
more resources or whatever. And then I did that, and then the mine shaft collapsed, and I guess it killed a bunch of people. And then there was like a faction of the like food union or some shit, and like one of their husbands was in it, and they're pissed off at me, so they're like on strike or something. And I was like, that's definitely a bit more than your normal
Right.
normal thing.
Right. In most games, those
So
would be two completely unrelated
yeah.
uh, sources of
Yeah.
resource, and yeah. So, but yeah, again, I've heard that Frostpunk has done that very well.
Yeah. So if you're on the fence for checking out Frostpunk, and I actually found this out the other day, uh grab the mobile version for
Mhm.
free. Not only going to cost you time. It's also Frostpunk 1 apparently has a console port that happened this year that is available on Xbox Game Pass
Mhm.
and one of the PlayStation Xbox Game
Years,
Pass
yeah,
tiers. I don't know what tier because I have the top tier, so I don't know what it's fucking on.
right.
I actually just scrolled across it the other day. And I was like, oh,
Look at
hey,
that, yeah,
Frostpunk.
yeah.
With kind of in
I've
the
been
back
seeing
of
it
my
show up
mind
as
of,
a newly added, and I'm like,
oh yeah,
no, I don't want to do it. Nah, I'm not going to do it.
well, it played good on PC,
You
obviously.
know what?
And I know you with your city builder clicker games. You
I
really get into them. You should, if you're
stop,
even,
stop it.
if you're even remotely interested, just go grab the mobile version.
I'm very remotely interested.
Just do it.
Okay.
So, yeah. Dame actually has good things to say about the developer, which is Come to Us.
Come to us.
Yeah, spelled funkily. He says
Come
they have an
to us.
they have an RPG series called Inosha, and he's big fans of their work because their works don't suck, according to Dame.
Mhm.
Which I didn't know. Didn't know. And they also, I didn't know this either. They made a game series like in the fucking early days of the App Store on iOS called Zenonia, which was like a totally like a Zelda RPG ripoff. But we were fine with it back then because it was like it played good and felt good to play and stuff. And
So
I played like 1 through 4.
So they gave you a branch.
We're not there yet, Nate. So this is pretty cool because I had absolutely no intention of even considering buying this. Because again, it was like, well, there's already been 2 fucking versions of Until Dawn already. I love Until Dawn. I love Supermassive. My wife loves Supermassive. This is one of the few games we have played together multiple times, usually around this time because it's a great Halloween game. Story-based choices. Obviously, the cast in Until Dawn is super fucking stacked. They weren't stacked when the game came out, but now they're all super fucking
massive.
famous. Yeah, well, stars Rami Malek and Hayden Panettiere and a bunch of other people who went on to do much more successful things than this game. But the remaster or remake is actually what it really is. Not a remaster because we already had the remaster on PS4. God damn it, Sony. So this is indeed
Scroll back an hour to the beginning of the section. Yeah.
Yeah. So the big thing about the Until Dawn remake, other than the fact that it is legitimately a remake from the ground up, is there's a new epilogue that has the actors Hayden Panettiere and Rami Malek in it, which is interesting because they would have had to have paid a lot of money to get them back. And it teases a sequel,
But they though.
which is interesting. I don't feel bad being like, oh, hey, it teases a sequel because we're fucking talking about a remake of a game that's already been out for fucking a decade. So that's really cool because nobody expected that. Everybody expected just, okay, it's a remaster or a remake. And I had to dig into this because Dame's a fan and I had to dig into this because I didn't have enough data. So basically, the gist is with the Until Dawn game, which is out now on PlayStation 5 and PC, I believe. So it has been remade in Unreal Engine 5. The original game used a prototype version of the Decima engine by Guerrilla, which doesn't make any fucking sense, but that's what happened. And it is made by a new studio called Ballistic Moon, which is apparently made up by all ex-Supermassive guys. So there's some of the original team worked on this game. My understanding from Digital Foundry is apart from when they play pre-recorded full motion video after patch 1.5, the game is really good. There appears to be some problem introduced with the patch that fixed the graphics problems from the launch version, which Digital Foundry called disastrous, but fucked it's just playing a movie file with like terrible frame tearing for some reason.
Gotcha.
I watched the video the other day. It's like, oh God, like it's bad. Like, fuck, that's weird. I hope they'll obviously be fixing that bug.
Or not.
Yeah, or not. So it'd be very interesting if this new team Ballistic Moon's already working on an Until Dawn sequel, or what would be better, in my opinion. And I feel like it could work, is Supermassive also co-works on Until Dawn 2, because they have a live action movie coming out next year. Totally different cast, by the way, so we'll fucking see. And also we'll see, because the whole premise of Until Dawn is a choose your own adventure story-based thing, so obviously the movie had to pick a specific path. So We'll see what fucking happens in that movie. I will see it just out of sheer curiosity of, if they're able to adapt that into a good movie, given that the actors who are in Until Dawn are all like really good actors.
Right.
And this new Until Dawn is like just a bunch of fucking people I've never fucking heard of. But then again, the first Until Dawn was just a bunch of people we'd never fucking heard of when it was made. So,
every cast at some point was people you hadn't heard of, and then you heard of them. So
that's fair. That's totally fair. So yeah, we'll see it Until Dawn. Really cool that there's an Until Dawn 2 teaser, basically, at the end of the remake. And hearing good things about the remake, bugs and all, that it's a worthy remake. I watched the Digital Foundry comparison, and they were showing like just how much better the animation is, and just how much better. And another thing I didn't know until I saw the Digital Foundry thing, because I didn't like watch a review of the game, because it's like, well, I've played the game like 8 times. I know what the game is. It's not crazy. You're moving around and making choices, occasionally picking up an item to put a key into something. What I didn't know was the original Until Dawn has like a classic fixed camera perspective, like old Resident Evils, but in a 3D engine. And the remake moved to a totally full 3D movable camera, like third-person Resident Evil style thing. And I was like,
as part of the switch to UE5, or
UE5 distinguishing themselves from the prior game, the fact that the camera angle thing when you're like moving in your 3D and then the camera switches is like an annoying. It's an old thing,
right? And it, again, might have been a limitation of Decima that now that they're in UE5, we can go anywhere. We can put the camera in your notes.
I doubt it was a limitation of Decima. It might have been of that prototype version they were
Right.
using that started development as a first-person shooter on PlayStation 3. So there's all kinds of weird old tech in that original game. But yeah, we'll see. Until Dawn remake. It is full price, so that'd be the only thing that's like, since, But yeah, they did a lot of work on the remake. Let's see here. Talking with Dame about remake. So, a couple of things before we get to this big piece of news about Halo. So, Halo unveiled several things.
Speaking of
many things. Firstly, Halo Infinite is getting a fully playable third-person mode.
Okay.
Campaign, multiplayer, interesting. I don't know.
Is it though?
Who asked for that necessarily? And
People
further,
that like Overwatch or that style of game, and they prefer Fortnite style, that they're comfortable with it.
Yeah, okay. That's a fair logical reason for doing that. My complaint with that is like, okay, so if it's a toggleable thing, I mean, third person inherently gives you an advantage over first. So are they doing their own lobbies? I don't know.
What's the advantage other than field of view? And then you have a disadvantage.
You can put your character behind a wall and look to the right of the wall without getting shot.
Right, but then you lose the advantage of ADS.
I don't think so. The video I saw, you still have an ADS component where the camera zooms in and the reticle comes up.
Okay, then there's no reason to play it in first person anymore, unless you're just really damn good at that. Because I mean, people have been doing what you're talking about with emotes. In Destiny, that's a famous thing is emoting.
Oh yeah,
to get that field of view.
Destiny. Yeah.
So
okay, you're not wrong. Fair.
I like that. You spill the coffee on you again, all over the keyboard.
Yeah. 1 second. 1 second.
Okay.
Vamp.
But yeah, opening up a video game to appeal to a wider audience is never a bad thing. And again, with it being toggleable, if you don't like it, don't do it. Alcohol pads. Alcohol for prep. But yeah, as far as who was asking for it, I don't think anyone was, and I don't know. I think I made my case that it's not necessarily that. Tim is feverishly scrubbing, and you all get to see his breakfast. And apparently he had a liquid breakfast this morning. You had tequila for breakfast?
What?
I don't know. Whatever was on that, you moved and rolled the chair, and I see your pizza plate, a bowl, or a plate, a bowl, a pizza box that looks like airport bottles of tequila on it.
It's not. It's actually whiskey.
Whiskey and eggs.
There's a life story behind that.
Okay, we'll get to that.
Not super interesting, but there's a little bit of a life story on that.
But yeah, no, I mean, as far as third person, I like it. I'm glad that they can do it.
Yeah. So, I hate you, but not really. Do you know why?
No.
Guess what you get on November 9th that I can't do because my gaming PC doesn't exactly work correctly.
I don't know.
So November 9th.
9/9.
Halo 2 Anniversary Edition. For PC only. God damn you. They are releasing between 343 and a special mod team that they have blessed. They are releasing the fully playable E3 2004 demo level for Halo 2 on Master Chief Collection.
Nice.
Fully playable. They got a video of it. It looks glorious. It's all tuned up, actually playable. Things that were not finished in the demo are totally finished. It's a
Nice.
full playable level from start to finish.
Should I stream it just to make you sad?
Yes, please. And I'm just like, why the fuck is that not available on console? Like, I get it. It's a mod.
Right. Is this something
Using-
that you could
However,
you could run an environment on your Mac and play it?
maybe.
Might be something worth looking into. You have, 20-ish days.
Yeah, I got other shit to do between then and now.
Yeah.
I just want to be able to like plop down on my couch and play it,
Fair.
And the fact that MCC on PC has mod support and the Xbox version doesn't, especially since there are many games on Xbox that have console mod support. Looking at you, Starfield, Skyrim, Fallout 4, just recently with Baldur's Gate 3.
Mhm.
Come on. But then there's the big news. Big old fatty. Did you watch it, for starters?
What's that?
The Halo Studios thing.
Yes.
Okay, good. So 343 is dead. They have been rebranded as Halo Studios,
Mm-hmm.
and they have multiple Halo games in development, and they have officially switched to Unreal Engine 5,
Mm-hmm.
which is the first completely new engine change that any team that's worked on a Halo game has done ever.
Right.
Because even though 90% of slip space was new for Halo Infinite, there was still about 10% of that code that was still the old Blam engine.
Yeah.
And there's a showcase using Halo 1 style art assets of the classic Pacific Northwest Halo Ring environment, a flood environment, and then a snow environment.
Yes.
It looks great.
Phenomenal.
As to be expected, because Unreal Engine 5 makes things look real good, and they, as they say themselves in their own video, they have access to features that they would have to spend time figuring out how to code and implement into existing engine and stuff. And the now Halo Studios is looking at the move to Unreal Engine 5, which had been rumored for a very, very long time, since the front end of Master Chief Collection was redone in Unreal Engine 4.
Mm-hmm.
It had been rumored that they were thinking about moving to this engine. And so what we have as a positive is Halo Studios, formerly 343, is no longer maintaining their own technical code base anymore.
Right.
They are going to focus purely on gameplay development, obviously technical running on console and PC, and making Halo games, as is evident from the new name change. So on the positive, those are all positives. They'll be on Unreal Engine 5. Anybody that they pull into the studio now, be it other Microsoft studios like the Coalition, which famously has their shit together like nobody's business on Unreal, or Ninja Theory, who also has been doing the Hellblade games in Unreal for a while now. And well, Rare also been doing things in Unreal. There's a lot of Microsoft games that are running on Unreal these days.
Right. There's a lot of games running on Unreal these days.
True.
And
it is
this is where I saw that. I'm like, that's exciting. Halo's going to look good. They're getting rid of the last vestiges of the Blam slip space engine. And that's where I start going, wait a minute. Why did we like Halo
Hmm.
and the Destiny over a lot of other first-person shooters?
Mm-hmm.
It was the feel.
Sure.
And you've never been able, because obviously if they could replicate that, it would have been done already.
So I have a couple of interesting things to say about this. One comes from a very astute Reddit post who is a
Mhm.
game developer that I read about this very issue.
Mhm.
They're like, well, the physics are what make Halo feel like Halo. Halo uses Havoc.
Mhm.
Unreal supports Havoc as a physics plugin.
Mhm.
Microsoft owns Havoc, which I
Mhm.
didn't know until I dug into it, since like 2015. So his argument as a gameplay or a video game developer was make Halo using Havoc in Unreal 5 and then figure out how to get the gunplay back to where
Right.
however it was and go from there, which is obviously what is most likely happening.
Well,
Because if
I'm not going to say obviously because
you
this
think
is
they'll use the Unreal
my fear.
Chaos physics engine,
Because it's easier.
okay,
This is my fear is that while it's going to make it easier to develop future games in the Halo franchise and you'll have a great narrative story, the gameplay is going to fall to the wayside in order to
So
just keep pushing game after game after game after game. I feel very money grab, and not in a bad way. Like, I get why,
yeah.
but I think counterpoint to myself, I think the people that care aren't going to like it. I think the people that don't care are going to love it.
So I'm going to err on optimism
Mhm.
only because of last night, actually. So I'm definitely skeptical of the same things you are.
Mhm.
I want Halo to feel like Halo. Halo Infinite feels like the best fucking Halo, period.
Sure.
And they need to maintain that feel somehow.
Right.
But I know that's a very hard thing to do when you change engines.
It's near impossible.
And it's one of the things that, looking at things that are owned by Epic, Psyonix, or the Rocket League guys,
Mhm.
never left Unreal Engine 3 because 4 fucked with the physics too much.
Sure.
Granted, 5 might be a totally different story, and who knows what's going on with them because I haven't played Rocket League in a good hot yearly minute.
Mhm.
But my game group really oddly started playing Borderlands 3 this week,
Mhm.
which is an Unreal Engine 4 game. Made by Gearbox, who's one of the only other teams on the fucking planet who knows Halo because they made Halo CE on PC.
Mhm.
And they literally worked in Blam and clearly took some pointers from it when they made Borderlands.
Mhm.
Now, I'm a Borderlands guy, even though I didn't jump on the Borderlands 3 train, but am playing it now with my friends. And I gotta tell you, having been a lapsed Borderlands player, Borderlands 3 gunplay feels real fucking good.
Mhm.
Feels way better than what I remember of Borderlands 1 and 2. And those were Unreal Engine 3 games. So, on that pure note alone, I feel like it can be done.
I'm not saying I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm saying is it's not going to be Halo gunplay. It's going to still be good gameplay. It'll be acceptable, appreciable, enjoyable. It's not and again, the only people that are going to care are us old heads like me that were, Halo CE like all the way through current. The reason we stopped liking Halo wasn't the gameplay or wasn't the gunplay.
That's true. That has
So.
never been the problem, even in 5.
Right.
Never been the problem.
So again, it's like if they can get to a place where they can get the story back on track and actually start telling a good narrative, I think the gunplay is going to be less of an
I
issue.
mean, it's a big deal.
It is.
I feel
Again,
given that
you show the third person over the shoulder, and it's like, okay, so we're going to have Fortnite with Halo skins.
Yeah, we'll see.
Is it a bad thing?
So,
Yeah.
and then to a latter extent, and it's not super important as long as they make good games. And obviously, to longtime Halo people, it's like, okay, you're still 343. You're changing your name, changing your new thing. The new studio head got to talking. I don't remember his name offhand. However, who the new studio head is the guy who saved the Master Chief Collection project. He's the one who got that back on track.
Right.
So he has an intense love for classic Halo. That's good. That's good for us. And he's a developer and has been in the weeds and is not, obviously he has some management in him if he got the project back on track, but he has a little bit more, he's not just a manager thing.
And again, that's
what we've kind of seen.
That points to narrative to me, not to gameplay.
Interesting. I would argue the opposite, but okay. And then secondly, we have a brand new art director. Some kind of accent. Also don't remember his name, but I do remember his last credit was he was a second unit art director on the Seattle-based Battlefield studio that was ran by Marcus Leto, who is the father of Master Chief, Scorpion Tank. He was the art director for the Halo series. And I'm like, ooh, that's an interesting pick for sure. Because one thing that Halo has always had, regardless of whether you like the art changes or not in the 343 era, especially 4 and 5, art's good, in my opinion. Like I don't necessarily agree with the Abrams 1 tank variants of Master Chief and 4 and 5 and those Spartans, the clunkier Spartans. But as a whole, like the art's not been a problem for the Halo series. And certainly what they showed in this demo piece, which in their own video, they talked about it as Project Foundry. It was, how do we get a Halo thing up and running? Let's choose 3 environments. And also, which is a very specific thing to say, these environments will be in a future Halo game.
Right.
Whatever that is, which is an interesting thing for them to say. And what they showed was a very Halo 1 inspired art look. More so than Infinite was kind of a retweaking back the art dial to a more classic look from 4 and 5. This was very much like, this is Halo 1 done in today's fidelity.
Right. We literally got the ring, Sidewinder, and now a flood planet.
I don't know about Sidewinder. They didn't have those Forerunner constructs on Sidewinder.
But you know what I'm saying.
They had a Forerunner construct, but not this. I know
environment-wise.
Yes,
So,
I get it.
yeah.
Of course I get Sidewinder. I understand completely. Halo ring wearing bearer here. I know.
No, but like you said, getting back to its roots, like you have 2 environments that you can directly trace to CE and then a flood planet. So
yeah, so I mean,
which I wonder how that's going to work, because
and like I said, and they stated, there are multiple active Halo games, which one could at least assume means 2 Halo games in Unreal 5, because they did say prior to this whole thing that development will still continue and support for Halo Infinite, at least for the next couple of years.
Good.
Because they announced next year's Halo tournament and all that sort of stuff. So obviously the community has been fraught with speculation that it's like, okay, maybe we'll do a side story with another Spartan. Maybe we'll do another ODST game, which a lot of people would love, obviously. But with the art that they did show live in Unreal, a lot of people are like, well, this kind of looks a lot like a Halo straight up remake, Halo 1 remake.
Mhm.
And from other, like let's look at Naughty Dog, for example. A huge impetus for them to make, this is going to get stupid because there's so many remasters and remakes, but when Naughty Dog did the remaster for Last of Us, which didn't have part 1 in the title at the time, they did that so that they could get their tools up and running on new hardware in their new engine. And they did that port themselves. And it was very much the same thing that they did again with Last of Us 2, where they brought the Last of Us 2 engine to PS5 by remaking the Last of Us 1 to get their stuff up and running, even though they haven't actually made a full game in the PlayStation 5 generation, but that's beside the point. So the kind of thought is, well, what better way than to usher in a new era of Halo than to really Resident Evil 2 remake Halo 1 in a new engine, because that would afford a lot of things. One, if you're trying to emulate that style, you're bringing it back down to that style in a new way. The reimagined remake thing has a lot of momentum. Between the Resident Evils and the Dead Space remake are actually good comparisons, because like Resident Evil 2 is it's the game, but it's a reimagining of that game.
Correct.
With new stuff here, new stuff's there, a bunch of stuff's way as you remember it, versus Dead Space 1 is way more religious about its design, but still adds new stuff here and there. Big example being Dead Space 1 separated by loading screens. Dead Space Remake has no loading screens and new sections that like make it a whole world sort of thing without like really breaking your kind of memory of that game. And so a lot of people probably feel like maybe it'll be probably something akin to like a Dead Space 1 remake for Halo 1, if that is indeed what they're doing. I have a much wilder theory. So put on your Halo Forerunner Ecumens hat here. So there, between stuff that I've learned over the years since Halo Infinite came out, and he's turned into a BB unit. Okay. Nate just put a thing on his head, folks, for those listening at home. There was at least 75% of the campaign for Halo Infinite that was cut. There's a thing published very recently by Hidden Xperia that showed all kinds of crazy dev footage and stuff that people had never seen before. And there was just an insurmountable amount of evidence, including story lore and stuff, of how much was cut to get Halo Infinite shipped. Which tells me a couple of things. It tells me that there could be two scenarios. These are my two wild scenarios. We get a continuation of Halo Infinite's campaign in Unreal Engine 5 somehow, because dialogue's recorded, design work's done. Like, there's a lot of things that are done that were just cut because they weren't finished.
Right.
So you could theoretically get that up and running in a much quicker fashion. All the other problems of moving to Unreal Engine 5 aside, hey, you have to make the game feel like it should. So you theoretically have a good grounding there.
Right.
Number 2 is you skip that and you do where many Halo-educated people feel Halo Infinite was going with the spoiler alert, the ending with the Endless. And the fact that they copyrighted a game called Halo the Endless, which basically, if you watch the legendary ending of Halo Infinite in your game today, there's a supposition there that there's time travel in Halo. And if we're going down that rabbit hole,
Don't.
we get a time traveled Master Chief from Infinite back into Halo 1 with the weapon, and we get some crazy ass fucking Halo Endgame shit for their game as a way to not only put an end to 25 years of Halo narrative, but also as a way for them to move forward, probably recast Chief and Cortana and
Cool.
go their own fucking
So
direction.
we're gonna Red Matter Kelvin timeline Halo. Awesome.
Nate says, "Fuck you. I hate that idea."
I hate
because
that
it
idea.
kind of makes some sense.
Yeah. It's
I
it's
know.
almost like it's been done before.
Yeah. It's been done a lot in sci-fi specifically. But those are my own wild
No, that's fine.
grunt gas canister tinfoil hat theories.
I'll let you have that one.
I'm not super happy about either of those outcomes.
Nope.
But I have a decent track record of being able to nail some pretty long-term story beats. So we'll see. We shall see. Oh, and then the final thing, Halo Studios. I hate the new logo. It's terrible. Looks like AI made it.
Mm-hmm.
And why Halo Studios? Like, I get it. You make Halo games, but
That's
you had
why.
You had 100,000 other Halo canon options. Spartan Studios, UNSC Games, fucking
Slip Space.
The Forward Unto Dawn.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't want to do Until
Studios.
Dawn. Yeah.
Forward Unto Dawn.
Right.
Because of the ship. Or the Pillar of Autumn Games. Or the fucking Forerunner Studios. There was like 100,000.
What was the name of
sci-fi words.
the ghost? I forget what it's.
The Monitor 343? Guilty Spark?
Guilty Spark. Guilty Spark
Yeah,
Games.
They were already called 343, so they probably wanted to stay the fuck away from that. Because so 343 Studios,
right?
The name of the antagonist in Halo 1 is 343 Guilty Spark.
Oh, okay.
So they wanted to stay away from 343 because it has this stank on it.
Okay.
Which is fair.
Arbiter Games. Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking Covenant, fucking Truth and Reconciliation. Like, there's 100,000 fucking cool sci-fi things that Halo has come up with.
Blood
And
Gulch
you're
Games.
so commercial. Oh, God, that'd be great. I would love that. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're so creatively bankrupt that it's like, okay, we're just going to be Halo Studios and we make Halo games. And it's like, okay, I get it. But also, because like the counterpoint to this is the studio that's been running Gears of War successfully since Epic stopped making it, which is they call themselves the Coalition, which is the name of the fucking human faction in the goddamn universe. And they have no stank on their name. And they've done other things than Gears of War. And I'm just like, okay. So anyway, rant over.
Yes.
Moving on, because we've been on this topic for way too long and we need to move on.
Oh, only an hour 43.
Yeah, well, we haven't podcasted in a while, so there's a lot to get through. Little Big Planet 3, closing down October 31st. It's sad. I don't know why they would do that necessarily, but whatever. Sony hates Media Molecule. Go on. Hey, do you have trouble waking up in the morning, Nate?
No.
I feel like he said yes. It sounds like you need a $100 Nintendo alarm clock.
No, I don't.
That's got sounds from Super Mario Odyssey and Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. No Tears of the Kingdom because fuck you. That's why.
So, that thing I can currently do with my device with a Spotify playlist?
Correct.
I'm going to spend $110 for No.
Yeah,
No.
but this one's got a motion sensor that gently wakes you asleep with sounds from the Nintendo universe. Yep. Nintendo Alarmo, or it's officially being called the Nintendo Sound Clock Alarmo trademark.
The Nintendo Snooze.
And it looks like the thing that really throws me is it looks like a weird neo retro, like a classic like cartoon alarm clock with the
Right.
two bells.
Right.
And I'm just like, what?
That's about the only thing I
Okay.
like about it is that, it's the old Mickey Mouse phone kind of aesthetic.
Okay, what about this? What about do your girls have problem getting up on time? You're like, God damn it, Tim.
No.
No, they don't.
No, they do. And this isn't going to help.
Okay.
You know what actually helped?
What?
So the little bit of video game contribution I'm going to have for this episode, because I haven't played shit in a month.
Sorry.
Life story. But
Okay.
we just purchased Pokemon Scarlet. She wanted Scarlet and Violet. I'm like, I'm not spending $120 bucks.
That's the open world one, right?
I don't know. I think so. It seems open world-ish.
I Google.
Yeah, it's
Actually tell me. I didn't ask. Do my clickety clacks come through in the new mic?
They do not. A lot of things
Here,
don't
let me
come
see.
through. On my end, at least.
Okay, that was the loudest I could clickety clack on this keyboard.
Yeah.
Nothing?
But she's enjoying it, and
Yes, it's the open world one.
cool. She hasn't had any issues with bugs. I don't think she'll care if she has bugs. I don't think she'll know what a bug is versus intentional. But
Fair.
we have a first gen Switch. The Joy-Cons are, at this point, they're like barely holding a charge.
Oh, okay.
So I decided
I thought you never had a Switch till the Animal Crossing one.
my brother-in-law got that one.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah,
When did you have a first gen Switch? I feel like I didn't know that.
I don't remember. It's been a while, but yeah, it's the original red and blue one. We got it for the kids. It's sidetracking me, you son of a. But yeah, since
it's what I do.
No, since the Joy-Cons don't hold battery charge very well anymore, and she's starting to, get into, big girl hands, I decided to go and purchase her a third party, not an original, but a Nintendo Switch Pro controller.
Oh yeah, those things are the fucking best.
Yeah.
I've been talking about them for years.
Yeah. It feels just like it's like a hybrid between my Xbox and my Stadia controller, and I love every minute of it.
Man, I hate that you said Stadia, but I understand.
Right. It's that right size.
It is the best controller.
So, regardless, when this one comes with all the RGB lights. She loves everything about the RGB lights. What I didn't realize when you plug it in, it's charging, it glows red and pulsates.
Okay.
So I've got this thing pulsating behind my TV all night. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. When it will fully charge, then we'd be fine. No, then it turns to pulsating green. Which my daughter woke up this morning when it switched colors and goes, Daddy, the controller's got full power again. I'm like, we are not playing Pokemon at 5 o'clock in the morning, dear. She goes, but it's charged. I'm like, and how do you know it's charged? She goes, because it's green, Dad.
God. See, now this is where I'm sorry you bought a third-party controller that does that, and you should have got a standard one because it doesn't have any of those fucking colors.
Right.
It's got a little amber light, and when it's charged, it goes out.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Side
note on that. Your Joy-Cons, you can email Nintendo, and they'll send you a thing, and they'll fix them for free.
Oh.
By the way.
Maybe they'll just swap out the batteries,
that done 3 times
for batteries,
or
different, just the or stick drift.
One was the stick, and it wasn't drift. If you've ever looked at the bottom where the stick goes into the plastic and they have like a little round cone
Yeah, the
that
cowl.
comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the stick that comes down is like a tiny stick of metal, and I managed to like shard gouge out the plastic. So it's like, your stick and it like moves like super smooth, falls all the way to the fucking far left of the thing, and you got to wobble it back to get back onto center. So I had that happen, and then 2 sets of batteries died or got shitty, whatever. And Nintendo fixes it every time for free.
Cool. I will keep that in mind.
Yeah, because they had too many lawsuits, and they just went, fuck it. We're just going to fix everything for free. For Nintendo, we got the money. Fine, we'll eat it.
But yeah, to tie it back, would they love an Alarmo? They probably would. Am I getting them one? No, I'm not.
Not even for Christmas?
Not even for Hanukkah.
Oh, man. See, now I feel a little mischievous, and I feel like I need to send you an Alarmo for Christmas.
If you want to waste your money on it, fine. If you want to drop that kind of coin, I will
That's true.
gladly
That's
display it. It's not the principality behind it. It's the fact that they're charging that much money.
Yeah, I watched the 10-minute presentation for it. It's got like a lot of cool features for an alarm clock, but then that $100 price tag, and I'm like, God damn, Nintendo.
Right.
That's some Sony tax right there.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
That's a $39.99 device.
Yeah. I would even argue with Nintendo tax, as it is in my mind, $50. Sure.
Right.
But $100? God damn. So, whatever I say. Alarmo.
In lawsuit news, I think we kind of covered it with the Xbox app, but yeah,
we didn't cover that they're selling games directly in the Android app next month. That will be a thing.
Yep.
For you guys, at any rate.
Yeah, but I mean, it doesn't mean that means Sony could also do that eventually. Right? The precedent is now set.
True.
Epic Game Store,
the
Steam,
Android app, at least.
Right. Like, this is the direct fallout of all these, of the Epic v. Apple lawsuit, is now app stores or game stores can now direct to consumer and not have to go through Google Play or Apple iTunes or Apple App Store. So,
yeah.
It's nice to see it's coming.
Yeah, but speaking of legality and licenses, how you feel about Steam saying now that you're not really buying a game, you're buying a game license due to new legislation in California? And even though Valve's a Washingtonian company, they just pulled the trigger and went, you know what? It's going to fucking happen sooner or later. Fuck it. We're going to call it across the board. Done.
Yeah, it was inevitable.
Change your shit.
And I think, yeah, it was inevitable. So am I surprised? No. Is it nice that they're finally coming clean with it? Yes. Does it suck that I'm still paying full price now for a license to a game that I don't get to keep? Very much so. Right? It is to the point where, yeah, it's the sign of the times. And in my tinfoil theory hat says, why am I ever going to buy a game anymore? Why don't I just subscribe to? Right.
Oh, yeah, no, that's fair.
Says, because if I'm going to just keep paying $10 a month and they're going to give me what they give me and they're going to take away what they take away.
It's funny. You sound like the Ubisoft CEO right now, which said gamers should get used to not owning their games.
Already am.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, I think it's going to hurt the industry as a whole when it's just like, how are you going to, how do you justify now charging that kind of cost for something that you could, like, there needs to be some sort of guarantees in place. And even if it's not with the consumer, at least with game preservation. Like, if we stop selling this or if we stop maintaining the servers, we will allow Internet Archive or whatever will allow you to homebrew and host your own servers. We'll relinquish the tech.
Yeah, we'll see, man.
Yeah.
We'll see. Fortunately. Oh yeah, this is kind of a big deal. So Xbox Cloud Gaming will let you stream your own games in November. This has already been happening kind of locally if you're on your own home network. However, basically, they've got their licenses in place that all games purchasable on the Xbox store will be streamable from their cloud servers, which is kind of a smaller but huge deal than you'd think.
Yeah, because like a game that the reason I tried Stadia was, was the original was Destiny. I was like, I would love to be able to play Destiny on my mobile device.
It's fun. It's fucking funny you say that.
We'll get there. Right. And then of course,
come on, that was a good fucking segue.
It's too soon, Junior.
Hey.
Sorry, a Fast and Furious. That's no, it's a Fast and Furious reference that you don't understand. That's fine.
That's true. I have no context for your.
But yeah, so I played it on Stadia. Stadia shut down, and then for a hot minute, they allowed it on Xbox Cloud, and then it went away for whatever reason. And it's like I've done thankfully because of my gig outs, I've been able to use the Steam Play app and stream it.
Okay.
But yeah, to be able to use the cloud infrastructure again and just be able to like, boom, I want to load up and I want to do a quick mission will allow me to play games that it's like, well, it's not on Game Pass. Or it's not on Cloud Game Pass. Like it opens up my library and allows me to do more stuff. What's going to be interesting is how they do the account and the cross save and the cross play and all that kind of stuff. But we shall see. It's nice. Like that.
Why? It'll work just like xCloud.
Yeah, which sometimes doesn't work with Xbox or with Xbox PC. It's weird. There's a couple of games where you don't
really.
Yeah.
I never encountered that, but I probably
both the Hellblade
use it less than
both the Hellblade games.
Really,
my PC save did not save with my Xbox save, and from what I've heard, there were issues even with local or Xbox saves and the cloud saves. So
weird.
Yeah,
it must have been a game issue or something.
No, but. So yeah,
okay.
Like especially if it's not, because obviously they curate stuff that they know that's going to work on the service. It'll be curious when you can just stream whatever.
Indeed. Well, speaking of playing Destiny Mobile, Destiny Rising was officially revealed just this last week. The long rumored
NetEase
Destiny mobile game. Originally, it was rumored that they were porting Destiny 1 to mobile due to it having ran on PS3 and Xbox 360, and mobile hardware is way more powerful than that now. But it's not that. It's a totally new Destiny game taking place in an alternate timeline during the end of the Dark Ages of the first collapse in Destiny. And it is entirely developed by NetEase Games, who love them or hate them from Diablo Immortal, is the same studio at least. It's unknown if they are using their own proprietary engine or if they are using some offshoot fork of the what's the Destiny engine called?
Tiger.
Yeah.
From what it looks like, no. Because everything when you look at the marketing it's a NetEase game, and anything IP wise is licensed.
Yeah, I kind of imagine that they're probably using the Diablo Immortal engine.
Sure.
Specifically from, it has all the online features they need.
Right.
And that is one of the things that they do is is MMO shit.
Hmm.
So that do that.
I was watching
watched
I watched the gameplay and I'm like, how is this different than like an actual Destiny, like a shooter mobile game? I was expecting, you know, something more in the lines of like a Diablo-esque, you know,
Mm.
isometric kind of over the shoulder.
Yeah, it's not.
It's
It
not
is
at all.
it is straight Destiny.
Right.
The difference being everything art wise looks new and original,
Mhm.
apart from some enemies.
Right.
It's going to tell its own story. There's like a female speaker. There's guns that are familiar, and there are not Destiny classes. This is a time before those classes are. And something that's a little hard to know, and it's like read between the lines. So there's three things. There's announcement video, there's a gameplay developer deep dive, and then there's what they say on their website. And I've watched all of these, and I've watched Bife's and Dado's and Avaze's analysis on all this stuff. And they state on their website it is not a gacha game.
Right.
However, there is also stuff in their videos that state you'll select different characters, and different characters will have different abilities and will also be able to equip different weapons. And they use the example of they have a character called the Wolf who uses, I forget what it was. It was like an assault rifle and a grenade launcher. And those are the weapons he's able to use, which I'm assuming are the weapons you'll be able to use. So it's a little unclear as to whether it's like, okay, so are you, even though it's quote unquote not a gacha game, is it going to be kind of like a gacha game where you're going to be collecting like Ikora and Wolf and other Destiny characters
Right,
to have different
I guess the method of
stuff?
acquisition is what then would make it a gacha game.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Because
I'll be interested.
A lot of people, particularly, Bife and all the Destiny community people, seem pretty pissed that it's NetEase. And they were pretty pissed about Diablo Immortal. And I feel like I'm an outlier here because I still play Diablo Immortal. And I've not spent a ton of money in that game. And I've had a really good time.
Sure.
And so I'm like, I don't understand what the fucking problem is necessarily. But we'll know way more about the game.
Preemptive outrage? I don't know.
Could be. Despite the fact that I fully got off the Destiny roller coaster with the final shape this past summer.
Same.
I pre-registered for this.
Same.
They are doing a trial November 1st for who knows how long. And they emphasized that there'll be a couple of campaign missions, a 6-player strike, and a couple of other things to do. And that's all there is. And they said they're way earlier in development than you think they are.
Sure.
Even though they're putting forward this whole playtesting, which is very interesting because I feel like it's almost like there's a lot of other things moving here. It's to test the waters to see if this is going to be viable from Sony's end. Development for this did start a long time ago. One almost wonders if this was Tencent pushing Sony to do this, as Tencent owns a chunk of Sony and could request such a thing of them. We'll see. I think the most positive thing to look at it is I've not had a bad time with NetEase games.
Sure.
Like they're fun. They're good. They're well made. The only problem I ever remember was when Diablo Immortal came out, it overheated my device like a motherfucker.
Right.
But they fixed that a couple months later. I don't know what specifically that problem was, but whatever. So I'm interested to check out a Destiny on mobile that's totally different from
What's the complaint about until
All
you've
Bungie shit.
you've tried it? Like, that's what I don't understand. Like, why the preemptive outrage is like, well, they should have or shouldn't have. It doesn't matter what they should or they're doing this now.
Now, I can foresee though a future where
Mhm.
in the hypothetical timeline where Destiny Rising is popular and, dare I say, more popular than Destiny 2, and there's some bullshit where it's like, hey, buy this in Destiny 2, get this in Destiny Rising, buy this in Destiny Rising, get this bullshit in Destiny 2.
Sure.
Have them both for fucking $100
Mhm.
fucking monthly bullshit.
Mhm.
Because that's how that shit works.
And that's fine.
We'll see.
That's fair play. What what I won't like is if it becomes, Marvel Cinematic Universe is if you didn't play Destiny Rising,
Well,
you're
and
not
it
going
looks
to
like
you won't be able to play this part of Destiny 2 or vice versa.
well, since it's in an alternate timeline,
Right.
in an
For now.
alternate era
For now.
for that.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm willing to give it a go. And honestly,
I would love to find a crusty old Gallarhorn in Destiny Rising and then suddenly open up my Destiny 2 and see it sitting in my vault all like decrepit and covered in moss, and that'd be cool.
I guess.
But
here's the thing that I feel everybody in Destiny is like outraged about this mobile game. And as somebody who plays probably more mobile games than the average person, bruh, you've been playing a mobile game since Destiny 1.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of fucking mobile shit that's in Quicksilver, are you fucking kidding me right now?
Mm-hmm.
That's from mobile stuff? All this shit that you hate about Destiny? It's a fucking mobile game.
Mm-hmm.
You idiots.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be dumb. Don't lie to yourselves. You know the truth. So it being on mobile makes more sense to me than, frankly, a lot of other games.
Right.
So, but we'll see. I did also do some super digging because the graphics that they were showing looked pretty good on the videos. So what I found out was the minimum specs are an Android device with a Snapdragon 845 or an iPhone 8. And what that basically equates to is, well, the Snapdragon chip and a low spec A series chip with it that at least have 2 gigs of RAM on your device. So that's how low it's going to run. And a lot of people are like, oh, it can't fucking run on 2 gigs of RAM and Destiny and shit. Has a bitch. They ran on 512 megabytes on 360 and fucking really 256 megabytes on PS3 because of the way their GPU split worked.
Right.
So,
but it's not at 4K and 60 frames per second is probably going to be the next complaint,
I'll be like, well, get a better phone then, bitch.
Right? Or it's a mobile game.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So
we're 2 hours into video games.
Played Borderlands 3 last night for the first time.
You said that.
Had a good time.
Yeah.
Forgot how much Destiny stole from Borderlands, even though I've been beating that drum forever. Nobody would believe me. And it's funny playing that with my Destiny group. It's like, oh, hey, this is like Destiny. Hey, this is like Destiny. And it's like, no.
Destiny is like
Destiny
this.
things were like Borderlands. And I've been saying this from the very fucking beginning.
Right.
And they're all getting jazzed up and excited about how like mods and stuff stack and they don't like fuck with your power creep because there's no PvE.
Right.
And I was like, I've also been saying that from the fucking beginning. Me and my wife still playing Baldur's Gate 3. Played it last weekend. Almost destroyed our relationship. I don't want to talk about it too much, but what I will say, there's renewed vigor in the game because mod support came out for consoles.
Okay.
And I've been saying that playing it in co-op has been difficult because she likes to run off and do her own thing. I like to run off and do my own thing. and they limit you to 2 characters that you're controlling. When if you weren't in co-op, you'd be controlling 4. So the encounter balance ratio is off, and you're always getting fucking fucked by every fucking thief in the bush. And mods change that in an awesome way, and you can up your party size to whatever the fuck you want. And so we made a husband and wife agreement of, okay, we each get 4 for that specific balance reason.
Right.
And while that's amazing and awesome, god damn, it didn't help us one fucking bit. We're just as fucked, if not more fucked, because the 2 guys that we've chosen to tag along with our respective co-op but separate parties are so fucking underleveled because we haven't used them. So it's both amazing that this sun is destroying my eyeballs right now.
Can you close the blinds real quick?
I am gonna hit it.
Yeah. I've slowly watched it creep. Oh, look at that.
Oh, I feel refreshed.
Yeah, I had to close my window as well because it's starting to get a little warm, and neighbor with leaf blower.
Oh no. Terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be another thing. You heard the dogs?
No.
Good mic. Good mic.
Yes.
Good choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I do recommend Baldur's Gate 3 with mods on console.
Cool.
We did the smart thing and saved pre and post mod just in case. But it seems like it handles it really well, and all the mods on consoles are pre-approved by Larian to, not fucking blow up your console, which is good. So that's cool. That's cool. That's what all I've been playing. It's a lot. So we'll spin and we'll move on with some quickness because we've been rolling for a while.
Yeah, I don't want my files to go too long and have too many gaps in it. I've been watching all of my timers, and all my timers are lining up so far. So,
well, that's life stories for you. Is where we landed because you can't hear the spin.
Gotcha.
So Nate, what's been up, my guy? We haven't talked in a while, actually, apart from some texts here or there.
I don't know if. No, it didn't because I know it was definitely not. We haven't casted since I was in the ER.
Yeah, that was the last post you made.
Yeah,
and I think I called you about it.
Yes,
if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, we did. We did chat about it, and it's expanded since then. But yeah, no. Yeah, we'll get there. In my pushing 50, and my body slowly going. All those things you did when you were a kid that you said, this couldn't hurt. They're going to hurt now.
So you're saying you are the crusty Galahorn.
Yes. And if things keep going the way they're going, I'm probably going to be covered in moss soon. But yeah, so.
Okay.
Put the kids to bed. One of them down, walked out in the living room, went to pick up the other one. And as soon as I started to pick her up, man, my back just completely locked up, shooting pain everywhere.
That sucks.
Been
there.
Like, I haven't. Like, never to the level.
Oh, really?
Yeah, where it's incapacitated me. And like,
yeah, I was practically paralyzed. I've talked about it on the show.
Yeah, but my wife has seen me just absolutely mangle myself and go, oh, okay, like I'm pretty good with pain tolerance. When I stop moving, she starts worrying. And I'm like, okay, I've pinched nerves. I've had my sciatic is blowing up. It really hurts. I can sleep it off. And I wake up and it's like, okay, this sucks tomorrow. A couple of Advil. We're all on about our business. Not in this case. Went, laid down, couldn't get comfortable. Finally, kind of fell asleep. Woke up in the middle of the night, to relieve myself. It took me almost 15 minutes to get down my hallway, because of how slow I had to move and hold myself up. So when I finally got there doing my business, I hear my neighbor. Houses are close enough. I hear my neighbor up and rummaging around. So I sneak outside to go ask him if maybe he can fork over some more effective pain meds. He recently had shoulder surgery.
Mm.
Um, and while I'm waiting for him to bring water back to me, like the walls closed in, my knees went wobbly, got the nausea, and down went
Oh
Frazier,
no.
right?
Jeez.
Which again
Okay.
as something that has not happened to me because of pain. Like,
Okay.
so at that point we were like, okay, nope, I'm going to the ER because there's something obviously very, 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 very wrong.
No vitals on your watch were like, hey, high heart rate or
No, nothing like that.
palpitation,
Yeah, no,
nothing,
nothing.
nothing weird on your watch.
No, and believe me, I was keeping a track of that because again, getting the
Okay.
olds. Got in there, waited in the ER for about 4.5 hours because apparently being on a 10 on a 10 pain scale isn't imperative.
Jeez.
They said, "Oh yeah, here's I did a CAT scan, all that stuff." They gave me a local anesthetic, painkiller, gave me painkillers, and sent me on my way. They said, "Yeah, you're fine.
Huh.
You'll be good. Just take the pills and take the drugs, and the drugs are working."
Okay.
Went and signed up for some acupuncture to maybe because at this point I'm thinking it's just an extreme case of sciatica.
Okay. I've
S
never had acupuncture, by the way. Is that a thing that you're a fan of?
It's the first time I've ever done it as well.
Oh, okay.
But, again, I'm
Did
willing
it help?
willing to try anything. Well, yes and no.
Okay.
Apparently my health insurance covers it, so first
Good.
one, yeah, it's great. First one was, I had to pay them just to, I wanted to do something because I was dying of pain, like
Yeah.
overreaction. Oh, sorry, overstating, but yeah, I was very uncomfortable. So when the approval goes over my doctor's desk, then she calls me and she goes, "We need to chat." And I said,
Uh-oh.
"Okay." I'm like, "I'm just calling for the approval." She goes, "Yeah, I see the approval. I also see two new medications on your list. I saw that you were in the ER. Can we come and have a sit down?" I'm like, "Sure, no problem." Go in, have the sit down. She signs off on the approval and she goes, "Yeah." She goes, "It was just very weird that the ER would let you go when you have a herniated bulging disc."
Oh no.
Yeah,
Bulging? I've
bulging.
had a herniated disc, by the way.
Yeah. And it's like,
Not a
"Oh,
bulging one, but bulging sounds worse,
yeah,
probably.
pushing right on the nerve." And, yeah, I was just like, "Oh, that would have been great for the ER to tell me before I decided,
Yeah, why the
to
fuck didn't the ER know?
right, to yeah, they're the ones that looked at the fucking
Because the
CAT scan."
discs should be able to see
Uh-huh.
on that shit. Well,
Uh-huh.
okay, well, fuck whatever hospital you went to, I guess.
Yeah, but the hospital is the ER that's the problem, but yeah, so yeah, I would have taken it easy. I would have taken a week off of work. I would have been like, "Oh yeah, it's sciatica, whatever. I'm going to work." Meanwhile, I'm just inflaming this thing. So yeah, a week's worth of for 15 days worth of steroids and painkillers, and it's like I think I'm feeling better, but I forgot to take my meds yesterday, and I was sitting in the chair this morning, like for the
What
pod.
what was the medical reason for the steroids? Were they trying to expand
Uh,
something so that
uh,
the disc what?
anti-inflammatory.
Oh, you got like reverse steroids or
Yeah,
something? Okay. I didn't know they had those. I only knew of
yeah,
the bulging
yep,
the bulging steroids.
yeah.
But
The
there are
pump you
medical
up.
reasons
Yeah,
to do steroids
correct,
to push muscles around to do stuff
correct.
if you have to.
But yeah, so I've been on that, and like I was sitting here, and it's like it's still kind of crunchy. Like I move sometimes, and things just don't feel right. I'm surprised you didn't mention this little scritchy scritch on my nose.
Well, I only saw it halfway through the cast when your video cleared
Right.
up.
Um.
What is the scritchy on your nose? He's got a big old looks like he cut himself off his
bas-
nose here.
Basically. So
Okay.
I was walking through my house. We have hardwood floors in the house, and kids leave
Mhm.
stuff places. Um. And I stepped on something, and it like a banana peel. And because I'm so locked up right now, there was no attempting to catch myself. and went ass over tea kettle and smashed my collarbone into a table, came down on a box of something that
Oh
like they're
no.
plastic toys, blood everywhere. It looked like a fucking crime scene. Um,
Yikes.
here is, and again, this is a visual bit, but you see what this is?
Yeah, it's a piece from your glasses.
Yeah, which I still haven't found the rest of the glasses or the other lens or anything else.
God. Okay.
Yeah, so um, yeah, that trip to Great Wolf Lodge, great for the kids, sucked for me
Oh, I'm sorry.
because I basically couldn't do anything. Like I sat
You
there, I'm
just
like,
sat
oh,
sat someplace and
sat
tried to
someplace in
get
a
comfortable.
humid room, and then yeah, when the kids wanted to roam around, it's like by the time we checked into our hotel, I'm like, I'm just gonna lay down.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. God, man. I'm sorry, dude.
Yeah, what a drag it is getting old.
I mean, I'd say I understand completely, but you have some years on me, but
Yeah,
I
you'll get
have
there.
my own problems I'm fucking still dealing with.
hmm You'll get there.
My wrist thing was coming back a little bit this week, and I was like,
no
fuck. Because I've been out of a brace for a month, and I was like, I don't want to go back. Goddamn
one ever wants to go back.
brace. Fucking stupid. I mean, there was a couple of things I'd stopped doing that I guess I wasn't supposed to stop doing, and a couple of things I didn't know I could be doing that I am now going to continue doing. I think I talked about a muscle scraper I got, and I had
Yeah, yeah,
stopped
yeah,
doing
yeah,
that,
yeah.
and I apparently need to not stop doing that. So
Mm-mm.
I'm gonna do that this weekend. And then I was talking to the chiropractor just Thursday, and he was like, "Well, do you got like a one of those massage guns?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Well, you should be using it on your wrist, like maybe even daily, because you're still trying to break up that last bit of scar tissue there.
Right.
And if it's getting exacerbated and getting worse, even just a little bit, you want to do something about it." And then I was like, "You told me at the beginning not to use the thumper machine." And he's like, "Well, that's because it was way bad. You can use it now." And then I was
Right.
like, "Okay, I will use the shit out of it." Because I have a thump machine. I can certainly hold one hand and put it on the other
Right. Or
and
you have
thump it.
your PS5 controller and you can just turn the vibration all the way up.
I mean, I have it up all the way anyway, but that's not enough. Although I might say it is mighty strong
Hmm?
on Borderlands 3, perhaps the strongest I have ever. I didn't even know it could go that high. But, Borderlands is made by Texans, so that makes sense. Well, I'm sorry you're going through all that, man, and I obviously wish you the best,
Yeah. But
obviously.
yeah, that's why like you wanted to reschedule and everything, and it's like I couldn't. Like part of the reason I haven't been gaming because I haven't been able to sit in a chair this long. Um,
Are you doing okay given our
I'm doing
usual
all
length of
right.
this shit? And we were already doing shit like an hour before we
Yeah,
recorded,
I'm
too.
doing okay. I took my
Okay.
meds. I took the drugs, and the drugs are working.
Okay.
Um,
All right.
but yeah, it's again, I'm not going to sit here and pop a pill every time I want to go play some video games. Like that's just
Yeah,
not that's not
that's not
quality of
good.
life. So
No, it's not. That's just masking shit so you can do shit.
right.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I don't have anything crazy bad like that. At least stuff that I can talk about. Um,
You posted
well,
4 seemingly innocuous photos
yes.
in the life channel, and
Yeah.
like I see forks, I see fire, I see shoes, and a game warden
Slippers. Yeah.
flippers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so which mystery image do you want to know about first?
Let's start with the big elephant in the room here, which is the game warden.
Oh, okay. So, as you know, because we delayed, um, a week ago, our good friend of the show, Killer Cow, also known as Daniel, was here in person for the first time in 2 years. He had an interview for being a game warden.
Ah,
And so there was, he got to do a ride along before his interview and talked about going and hiding in a bush with the officer he was tagging along with and watching people catching fish the illegal way. And then there's something to do with a bunch of salmon that had to be cleaned out. And long story short, he now knows what it's like to be covered head to toe in salmon semen.
Nice.
And he told me not to talk about it on the podcast, but I also said, nope, that's happening.
Mhm.
I got to talk about that, you know?
Not going to make
So,
fun of him. I mean, it's
I mean, it's already done. I can
Right.
just say it and it's good. You know? So yeah, no, that's the deal with the game warden thing. And I got news a couple days ago that he actually passed his interview.
nice.
And we'll have to make a return trip in December for like another interview of some kind,
So,
which is
but
unfortunate.
why is it
but
Texas game warden when you're clearly not in Texas?
those images, all of them, were
okay.
just
Okay.
quick Google while I was heating my coffee this morning.
Gotcha.
And I was scrambling to put things in because if I don't put them in the Discord, I forget to fucking talk about them.
Okay.
You know, it'll be we're sitting at like rendering a thing or I'm waiting for your file or whatever.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, fuck, I meant to talk about blah. So that's why.
Fair.
So next mystery image, dealer's choice to Nate.
Slippers
So slippers.
or
There
moccasins.
was so there was a significant amount of running around while he was in town. And I kind of took the week more or less off so that I could hang out with him. But he was always like doing something. He went to a bunch of different stores to get like fishing and hunting code magazines and stuff because he moved
Right.
from this state and he's interviewing to have a position in this state. So he's trying to catch up on stuff. And we ended up in a Ross and he was like looking for stuff for his interview. And I was jokingly telling him that I was going to get the Cheetos moccasins or something.
Oh.
And then he eventually talked me down and I found some like cheap ass $12 fucking
Knockoff Crocs.
No, I would never wear a Croc. I'm not a Croc man. Despite everybody on my other side of the family is. I say no
I
to
say
Crocs.
nay.
I do. But I am, and I'm wearing them right now. I'm wearing new house slippers for like the first time. Like to give you an idea of my old ones, like the backs are broken. The gel is like squishing up in an uncomfortable feeling, squishy and sweating thing. They're broken, they're leaky, but I've been wearing them for who knows how long.
So
And I
so
just refuse
basically
to get
your
new ones.
slippers were me. The back's broken. Gel's leaking up into places it shouldn't be leaking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I don't like the mental image picture of wearing Nate Fu as slippers around my house. Like my slippers were really gross. Like I can't
Yeah.
believe because
Yeah.
I'm
They lasted this long.
kind of a
right.
fastidious clean person. I don't know why I would even tolerate them on my feet as long as I did, but I did.
Yeah.
I just wore them forever, wore them for work when I was doing office work, whatever. You know.
Isn't it
But now I have new
amazing though when
ones.
you put a brand new pair on, you're like, why haven't I done this sooner?
I know, right? And they're like, I don't even know what fucking brand they are. They're just like black and they got like a little fluffy stuff and they've got a little gel pad in them. And
Mhm.
I don't even know.
Fortunately for me,
Why?
like it seems
And
like
it
every
costs like nothing.
every
you know?
2, maybe 3 years, someone gets me a pair of slippers for Christmas. And like I love it. I love it because it was just like it seems like that's right around the time that I'm like, I should have thrown those out.
Yeah. Well, I think the pair before the, I had just like a basic bitch black slipper,
Mhm.
like adult looking thing. Before that, when I was like a kid, I had these moose slippers that
Mm.
were bomb and like they were fuzzy and they were warm, but like the soles fell out of them. So I stopped wearing them. But they had like a little electronic, like I think the left slipper had like a moo. And if I bashed the 2 feet together, you'd go, and it made no sense because it was not the right sound for a moose.
Right.
And he'd just make this cow noise. Moo. Fucking love those things. But anyway, I digress. That's all there is to the slipper thing. I'm wearing new slippers right now. Not a huge deal.
Cool.
Threw it in life. Why not?
Sterno can.
Yeah, so that one's got a bit of a TBD information on it. So I've seen these metal fire pits at Costco
Mhm.
forever.
Mhm.
And I've wanted one forever
Mhm.
because you've seen the size of my backyard.
Mhm.
It's
Perfect for one.
tiny.
But
Yeah, yeah. And we had a little extra money, hence this mic from
Mhm.
our tax return this year, which was lovely because I'm used to like $10
right.
on my
It's like
tax
I'm
return.
breaking even or owing. Yeah.
Well, and it was a bit different because now that we're married and filing jointly, which we
Right.
should have been doing anyway, but we weren't. We're like, oh, hey, we have some. We could
Scratch.
play
Yeah.
with it, or we could get some things that are like realistic and useful.
Right.
So I got this mic, and then I got the fire pit. I have not set the fire pit up, so I cannot attest to
Okay. But
it.
you
But
were getting into
fall,
that season. Yeah, exactly. You're getting into the season
you
where that
know.
will be
I
nice to break out a couple of chairs.
Well, and back when I was living with my folks, they had like a proper brick
Yeah.
dug fire pit with
Mhm.
pea gravel around forever. And being a Boy Scout, like I'm super fucking used to fire and stuff. And I just haven't had one since I've lived here. And I've lived here for like 6 fucking years now.
Mhm.
And I'm like, got a little bit of extra scratch.
And
I
they're not. I mean,
wanted one.
they're not horribly expensive.
No. I mean, I'll say, mine was 250
Yeah.
at Costco.
Yeah.
And I think it's a 33-inch wide. I might be wrong on that.
Right.
It's all stainless. It's the 2.0 one. I did watch reviews before I purchased it. Supposedly I can set it straight on grass, and like the bottom, the way the vents all work,
Right.
it will not, you can touch it with your hand, even
Right.
if it's a roaring fire. I watched a dude in the UK actually who had a tiny backyard, not unlike mine, and was like, yeah, this is perfect for UK people because we don't have backyards very much. We got
Mhm.
like a speck of grass and some brick, and that's it. And I was like, well, that's what I got. Perfect.
Right.
But I haven't set it up yet. I meant to, but I've just been too busy at work. And then secondly, there was a work purpose to it. I have an obscene amount of wooden pallets. And the amount of wooden pallets, I'm like, in my head, because I'm pretty good at estimating dump runs, I'm like, this is going to cost me like $800 fucking dollars
Right.
if I take this to the dump.
2 birds, 1 stone.
I'm just going to fucking skill saw this bitch.
right. And use it as fuel.
33-inch planks, probably like 30-inch planks realistically, and just burn this shit because I'm not going to cook on this stove. So the fucking chemical treatment of the planks, I don't give a shit about. I just want the fire. And then I can dual purpose and get her done, which I haven't got done yet. So TBD on the rest of that and the
Gotcha.
actual burning and all of that stuff. Like it's sitting in the box downstairs. Like I think I opened it to make sure all the parts are there, but that was it. But I'm excited about it because it literally got like cold this week. And I was like, oh, perfect timing.
Yeah.
Right on.
We were starting to get chilly, and then it was like, one last hurrah. And we got the Santa Anas and the winds and everything.
Uh-huh.
And then we're getting back
Yeah.
to cool again.
Yeah.
All right. And I think I know what the last one is. What's with the forks?
So you may have noticed when we did our Hot Ones thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I believe we had forks because we were doing nuggets. I had like literally the Walmart special forks with the turquoise plastic ends and the shitty metal. And
Yeah, baby's first, fork set.
yeah, basically. Not that I hated those because they were totally functional and useful and have lasted for years. But we keep missing forks around here.
Mhm.
And we were getting into a situation not even a week ago where we were like trying to have dinner and there's no forks. And then the forks that were in the dishwasher were like fucking 4 of them. And I'm like, where in the ass fuck are these forks? You know, and I even talked to Brock and being like, I don't know, I have like
Yeah,
two forks, and I kind of cycle between them.
Yeah, like, are you
So
putting them in your
between
lunch
us-
bag and taking them to work?
Between us,
or-
we have like 6 forks or something fucking stupid. And then this money, I was like, you know what, Costco, 75 piece. All right, done.
Right. So now you have
Like,
full matching
fucking
knives, spoons,
stop
forks.
fucking
Yeah.
fucking around with this lack of fork bullshit. So nothing crazy, but I felt like talking about it given the name of our podcast.
Sure.
Yeah, actually, since we're streaming, these forks specifically, I'm not a fan of this like blunt flat end.
Right.
Like it feels like it should be roundier,
Roundier.
longer.
Sure.
Yeah,
But whatever. It gets it done.
Not bad.
Yeah.
It's like a Miyasaka steel or something. I don't know.
Yeah. That's all you have in life.
And the only other thing is tomorrow, which obviously we'll talk about in 2 weeks, is my haunted house crawl.
Yes.
Which unfortunately will be the most abbreviated haunted house crawl we have had yet.
Aw.
Very sad. Well, it's just a result of the fact that my buddy Jay's kids are teenagers and they have fall school projects and proms and horse shows and all kinds of bullshit. So we could only fit it in on a Sunday. And haunted houses closes at 10:30 on Sunday. So we're doing a mad dash. Okay, if we cut out all the other bullshit haunted houses that might be new and might be fun, but we don't have fucking time for, we're doing the A-list haunted houses only. If we do it right, assuming we don't get fucked by a line, because one of them is an A-list haunted house, but there's no like line skip pass we can buy, and one of them is another A-list, but it totally has like a Uber line skip pass. So we already got the line skip pass for those. Georgetown Morgue, as I've talked about every year in the podcast and stuff, as I regale the tale of the haunted
Georgetown
house crawl.
Morgue. Yeah.
Yep. And then we are returning to the Nightmare on 9, which has the kind of weak sauce haunted house, but the Haunted Trail, which is put on by the same people as Georgetown Morgue, which is dope last year. They've renamed the Haunted Mining Town this year or something. We'll be doing that one, but we got to wait in a line for that one.
Yeah. When my wife gets home, she's actually taking the kids to do a haunted trail this afternoon. Cool. So he's like, "Are you coming with?" I said, "Too much walking."
Yeah. No, that's unfortunate.
So
yeah, so we'll see, because we're doing the haunted houses, nothing else. We're not doing movies. We're not doing French toast. We're not doing multi-day excursions. We're just doing the houses in a 6 to 10:30 mad dash to get through them all. It's unfortunate, but
it's tradition.
On a Sunday,
I
got work on Monday, and so I'll have a full report on that next show. Hopefully it's a gas as it always is. Looks like mostly the same crew as last year, although with 50% more Jessica, because not working in the evening. So yeah, that's all that's going on life. And I guess we'll move on to one of the other ones. Spinning noise. Oh my god, I've landed on fire three spins in a row. Spinning. All right, Earth. What's Earth? Technology. A couple of bits of technology to go over. I
like the last one. Federal Trade Commission does something good.
All right. Okay, I guess we'll just go in reverse order here.
Yeah.
Since you stated that. FTC has officially made a rule in the United States that is imposing a click-to-cancel subscription on
that actually
digital devices.
Does something, yes.
Which means when you click it, it's canceled.
Right.
No bullshit, no rigmarole, no stuff. And I, like you said, holy hell, FTC. That is the smartest, cleanest rule implementation and helpful thing you've done in a long time, my
Right?
guys. Good job. Good job, FTC.
Yeah,
I'm here
because
for it.
and we've all been there. It's like, cancel. Are you sure? Yes, I'd like to cancel. Could you please tell us why you are trying to cancel?
Dude.
No, I don't want to. I just want to cancel.
Dude, and don't get me started. So, because like I do the family account thing on iOS,
Mm-hmm.
and all of my stuff is easy to see and easy to cancel. But
Right.
God forbid I got to cancel something on Jessica or one of my other family members' things. And it's like, oh, you can't view that. You have to go to this thing that routes to a web page. And I'm like, come on, Apple.
Right.
Why? For fuck's sake.
Because as much friction as they can, they hope that you'll get frustrated and go, fuck it, I'll do it later. And that later, oh shit, 2 more weeks. We got 1 more month out of them.
Yeah. AMD launches a new AI chip that supposedly, on paper, will rival NVIDIA's Blackwell AI chip.
Cool.
This is a big deal because so far, apart from the fact that there are like co-AI chips with Intel stuff and Snapdragon and all this stuff in the wings, in terms of commercial AI, it's pretty much NVIDIA's GPUs are best.
Right. And even if this is, it's aims to compete, even if it doesn't compete, it's another player in the game.
Yes. In the commercial game.
Yeah.
Which we want to distinguish from the little tiny AI chips that we've got in our Apple products and our Samsung products and anything that runs a Snapdragon and all that sort of stuff.
Or any other chip that they just want to put the name AI on, even though it's not actually AI. And
yeah, exactly. But the oddly named MI325X chip from AMD will be the first chip that will fully run OpenAI's ChatGPT current model at massive data center speeds, and more importantly, be like 60% cheaper than NVIDIA, which has always been AMD's dig at NVIDIA, which is, hey, we can do it almost as good and cheaper.
Right.
And that's worked out real fucking well for AMD. You can't lie that it hasn't.
And again, we're not publications, but Moore's law is getting to a point where like to get the first to do AI legitimately, it's coming at such a power consumption cost that it almost makes it cost prohibitive even on a corporate level. So
yeah, because the NVIDIA stuff, because they've been largely the only player / top dog in the game. It's like, well, you have to run your AI data center with NVIDIA.
Right.
So we can charge you whatever the fuck we want.
Right. And again, nothing's pushing NVIDIA to be like, well, can we do this cooler and cheaper? And they're like,
no, because every GPU has been way bigger.
Right.
Way more power consumption.
Right.
And yeah, they're technically efficiently designed, but the size of the things ain't going down. It's going up.
Right. So now there's
further than the latest RTX cards that are the size of your fucking Xbox inside your computer. Yeah, it's nuts.
But yeah, so
good job, AMD.
Hopefully this pushes at least some sort of onus back on like, okay, we can do this cheaper and still have the teraflops to at least coming on and off here.
Huh?
I see your lights changing.
Yeah, it got a little dark.
Yeah.
I decided to kick my lights on.
Caught me out of the corner of my eye. Yeah.
There we go.
Efficiency in this technology, especially if we're going to be leaning so heavily on it, it needs to be done. And it needs to be done now.
And the thing is, at least publicly stated, although we don't know what they look like or the size of the things, the only one who has commercial things with any efficiency of AI, even though it's not here yet publicly till the 28th, so we'll see in 9 days, is the Apple intelligence stuff.
Right.
Because supposedly they already have server centers built with M2 tech, and it's like, well, M2's small as shit. Like, it is the smallest chips in the game. And if they're operating at server levels, I'd be real curious to see what that actually looks like on the inside. But I doubt we'll see that until years down the road. has been routine for the Apple stuff. But yeah, no, big deal. Speaking of big deals, Google lost their fight with Epic
Mhm.
over monopolization in app stores and I guess back third-party channeling, forcing things on Android,
Mhm.
which is very interesting. I guess really the three kind of notes on that, not to beat a dead horse, because we've been talking about this sort of shit for years, is court did find Google was making back channel deals
Mhm.
illegally with Samsung and tons of other companies, which is interesting because to my knowledge, Google doesn't necessarily need to do that from a financial standpoint since they
Sure.
have the only app store in town for Android. But I guess that's not going to be true anymore because Epic Games will be launching their app store on Android as soon as the end of next month. And as will others for that matter.
Right.
But it's a very odd thing in the United States where Google lost this and Apple won this fight.
Mhm.
And really, as far as I could tell from looking at it, the only big difference is Android's on many hardware configurations. And and Google did illegal back channel money deals.
Right.
Like that's pretty much the only difference between that and Apple as far as the law is concerned. So it's interesting. It's interesting that Android will be even more open and Apple gets to stay the same. Very,
Well, I mean,
very interesting times.
yes and no. Like they do
Well,
have
except
to,
for the UK.
right, and they will have to start allowing people to branch out, but they still have control over the app store itself.
Sure.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
you wonder what the technicality is that one side won and one side lost. And I think we were like off the air. We
The
were
only
talking
thing
about
we could think at was, well, Apple has their hardware from stem to stern.
right closed
Whereas
ecosystem.
Google doesn't make their own hardware with the exception of their own,
right.
Google phones.
But they're an
and
operating.
Whatnot.
They are an operating system.
Yeah,
And Android
they are
is
primarily.
Yeah.
They are the Windows of the mobile world.
Right. Apple
And
is
that's not
Apple
being
is Apple.
facetious.
Yeah, Apple is Apple top to bottom. Android is an operating system. They can run on whatever you.
Tons of shit. Absolutely tons of shit. Yeah, very interesting there. This is kind of a big deal. So Xbox co-founder Jay Allard has joined Amazon as I have to click on the thing because the fucking thing, he's the vice president of product or vice president of its devices and services team. That's very interesting. It's very interesting that they would hire him.
Why is
And
that?
to my understanding, he was retired. Well, because he made the Xbox what it is. He was a big push on the 360, and everybody obviously, in terms of Xbox, looks at the 360 as the successful era for Xbox. And that's very interesting to see what he could bring to the table for Amazon Fire and Kindles and stuff.
I guess.
So
Luna, like
I can't believe that's still a thing. But it is.
Right.
So I don't know. We'll see. A little bit about Jay Allard. He shipped over 40 physical products at Microsoft from 91 to 2010, including the fabled Zune.
I remember it fondly. I know it's in your drawer.
Every time. Every time. What a wonderful little musical device. So yeah, we'll see if anything cool becomes of that, or if it's just another fucking, hey, I have like a great pedigree. So this is the most ridiculous fucking thing I've ever seen as a Rick and Morty person. So to preface this for the people who haven't seen Rick and Morty, like Nate, there is a whole episode of Rick and Morty where he has cultivated like a tiny living organism universe inside his car battery. And he gave them this technology. I think it was called like the Gloopy box or some fucking stupid thing where there's like a whole civilization that is stomping on like a pressure sensitive plate that then, kinetically generates dynamo energy to power his car battery. And so when I saw this and I thought, no fucking way that this is a real fucking thing that is happening in Japan.
Because of
And
course it's
they're
happening in
put-
Japan.
Yeah, I mean, it does make sense because they're all about foot travel there and
Mhm.
stuff. And they've got these cool triangular tiles with like a little bit of resistance, and they're putting them in malls and subways and stuff. And it is fucking making piezoelectric energy.
Right.
And because of their foot traffic, it's being enough to divert that power to lights and a few other things and stuff. And I'm just like, okay, on the surface, makes total sense because Japan, efficiency, they have to use what they got because
Mhm.
they have a tiny, tiny country with large population. And then on the other hand, on the Rick and Morty side, I'm just like, that's fucking insane. Because it's like, what? And I'm imagining like the Rick and Morty writers know about this and they're just like, shit, something we made it was supposed to be a total fucking funny sci-fi joke.
Right.
And now Japan's doing it. And I'm like, wow.
It's like when The Simpsons predict something.
I was about
right?
to say the exact fucking same thing. Oh my God. So yeah, that's ridiculous. Just about as ridiculous as on October 1st for 2 days. And there was a bunch of misreporting on this. People were saying it was bricking phones. It's not what was happening.
Right.
People don't understand the term bricking.
Mhm.
Bricking means you can't use it ever.
Mhm.
That's what bricking means. Not that you can't connect to cellular. You idiots and people who are reporting on this wrongly. You dumb journalists who don't understand words when you're a journalist. Fucking shame on you. Sorry. No, so I had to do this because I was in an elevator in Seattle doing something with my wife, and there was a conversation overheard. And I couldn't believe the conversation I was hearing because it made me feel
Old.
And this was coming from comparatively probably somebody that was your age. And they were talking about that all of Bell South's cellular network was down and was bricking phones, and you need to be careful with your phone. And I heard that, and knowing that Bell ain't been a thing for a fucking while.
Right.
I turned my head and I could not help but interject in this conversation that had nothing to do with me. I didn't fucking know this person. And I said, Bell, whose telecommunication network got bought and sold up to like AT&T and others 20 years ago, that Bell. They were like, yeah. And I was like,
Bell South when we're in the Pacific Northwest.
I couldn't. Like my brain just went, I want to scream at this person for not knowing what year they're in. But then my better brain prevailed and I just sat there and sputtered and got off the elevator and went about my fucking thing. And I was just like, and even Jessica, being young and tech naive, she's like, Bell's not a thing anymore, right? I was like, nope. Hasn't been a thing. And then she's like, bricking means it like the device is like dead, right? Like it doesn't do anything, right? I was like, yep. And I was like, so every word out of her mouth was wrong. I was like, yep. So, to clarify on this whole fucking issue, because apparently it only affected Apple users.
On Verizon. Yeah.
Verizon Cellular Network had a compromise in their network that they're not talking about, that any iPhone model 14 and newer, which is a decent amount of phones out there, had zero cell service, not even SOS, not even like, hey, I can call for 911. There's already been a couple of lawsuits where people couldn't call for 911 because
right.
It's a large quantity, a whole ass fucking chunk of network with a whole 2.5 years worth of phones out in the market. Yeah, it was a big deal. Nobody knows what happened. People started to blame Apple because iOS 18 had just come out at the time.
Right.
But it ended up not being iOS 18. It ended up being a compromise in the Verizon cellular network. And my understanding is even like, it was like the FBI or the FTC or one of the big US government agents had launched an investigation as to like how it was compromised by perhaps a foreign entity.
Right.
And I was like, damn, that's not good. The only other thing that I could say on that from a tech perspective, and I'm sure you know this because you're not dumb like that lady in the elevator.
Right. Verizon.
I'm sure she's a nice lady. She just
Verizon and Verizon MVNOs are the last ones using CDMA tech.
Yes, thank you. Ding, ding, ding. Smart prize goes to Nate.
Yep. Old Sprint user back in the day.
The oldest fucking operating cellular network in the US. Really? They were compromised? I'm not fucking surprised.
Yeah. Everyone switched to GSM for a reason.
Yeah. Anyways, I digress with apparent much anger than I thought. And then, hey, there was a mini moon that joined Earth's orbit for 2 months. So it's still floating around the Earth.
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, and you won't. Because the mini moon, I guess, is classified as like, it's like 60 inches by 60 inches.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got to look for it, probably with a tracking program.
And it's moving. Yeah.
Yeah, it's moving. Yeah, but it's in our orbit for the next 2 months. It was noted. I read the headline and I was like, the fuck? And then I dug into it and I was like, what classifies as a mini moon? And I was like, oh, it's a satellite moon, basically.
Right.
Okay. Fine.
Shouldn't it
Thanks,
be
NASA.
Shouldn't it be visible to be considered a moon, or is it just
it's technically visible by human personal telescopes if you know where to look and can track it.
Gotcha.
And I saw a video of it and I was like, well, it's exactly what you think it is.
Yeah.
Hurtling along up there.
Rock. Yeah.
But that's tech, and let's move into entertainment and close out the show, I guess, as quickly as possible so we don't burn up all your time, good sir.
Yes.
Oh my God. Ted Lasso season 4 confirmed. This is a big surprise.
Yeah, because it was supposed to be done.
They thoroughly said, we don't want to beat a dead horse. We don't want to drag this into oblivion. This is a great ending spot. If something comes to us in the years to come, we're more than happy to revisit Ted Lasso. But we are closing down production and ending on season 3. And had a very definitive end.
Right.
Everybody went their separate ways. People, all the things. But
tearjerker, everything.
Yep, it's fantastic. But yeah, season 4 of Ted Lasso apparently gearing up to begin production beginning of the year. What it could be, given that the show is called Ted Lasso, one can assume it's Jason Sudeikis. I said at the time at the end of the show, show is called Ted Lasso. You could do Ted Lasso again with a totally new team and a totally new sport. You could even set it back in America. You don't have to have the British soccer team.
Right. Doesn't even have to be soccer. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be soccer.
It could be
Although
a
it'd be
league,
great
a
to
league
see
of their
those
own.
characters
Ted
again.
Lasso, you know.
Yeah, could be, I don't know, something dumb like badminton or something. I don't know. Because that character and like could just be put in anywhere and create a similar dynamic. One could argue.
Sure.
So we'll see. Nobody knows what the show's about. Nobody knows how much of the original crew is returning. One can assume it's Jason Sudeikis again, given
You would hope
he's
so.
he's the fucking title character. Like it'd be weird to have a Ted Lasso show and him not be in it in any capacity. You know what I mean? Like if it was a spin-off, you know what I mean? Like if it was something like, I guess you'd have to call it Ted Lasso, wouldn't you? Like Ted Lasso semicolon.
Right. Ted Lasso
something.
presents. Yeah.
Yeah. Ted Lasso presents something.
Or
It was
from
something
the
else, like,
makers
okay, I
of Ted
understand.
Lasso. Yeah.
But according to reports and listings and stuff that's leaked, fucking season 4
Okay.
happening.
Okay.
I'm thrilled because that show, God, it has something special. Little concerning because they did close down production, so like the whole like groups not together, but fuck it. They needed a year or two to recharge and they're back. I'm okay with that,
right?
To be totally honest, because that show fucking an amazing
nothing wrong
beacon
about it. Yeah.
of light. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that French shit. Joker number 2, absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely fucking tanked in the box office.
Sure.
And fans are not happy. Critics are not happy. The movie's dreadful, apparently. And director's already gone out blaming other people than himself. Classic. I've gone on the show before that the director is woefully out of touch with the world and doesn't understand the things that he's making, even though he's somehow managed to make some good movies before. So, good is all I can say about that. It just reconfirms what I was stating all along about the first film, which was that it was a good movie and it was a terrible Joker movie.
Right.
Mike List would always disagree with me, but to each his own. I actually forgot about this, and then it came up in our feed. But season 2 of Shrinking, starring Jason Segel and Harrison Ford, premiered this last week, which is also made by the Ted Lasso team and writers, including Brett Goldstein, aka Roy Kent, who appeared as an actor in this season in a surprising role, which I shan't spoil. And the show is just banging out of the gate. You know, the first season was fantastic, but I was talking about it with Jessica, and she's like, the first season was really good, but there's definitely a little bit of like, they're trying to determine how much of a drama, how serious, how sad, how like they're trying to find out what the show is as a tone. And even though the first season's really good, she's like, I think they found it. And she's like, season 2 feels really consistent across the episodes. And we watched 2 episodes and they're only half hour. And I was like, man, I felt like we just watched a 3-hour show. There's a lot of shit that happened in those 2 episodes. But it's a fantastic show. Highly recommend it if you have Apple TV.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things. And
if you're a Ted Lasso fan, it has the same vibe.
Okay.
Of like loss and hopefulness and funny.
Right.
But it's like about life,
It's
and
a joyful
like
joyful little chunk of life.
Yeah, it's fucking such a good show. Long overdue. I finally checked out. I've only seen 1 episode because I haven't been back because I'm still on the fence on if I'm going to continue. I watched first episode of Batman Cape Crusader, which is done largely by the original team who produced Batman the Animated Series. It's on Amazon Prime for some fucking reason, and was set to star deceased famous Batman voice actor Kevin Conroy, and now is starring that guy from that show whose name I don't know entirely. I know, that's great. Crusader. I'm looking it up right now. Hamish Linklater is playing Bruce Wayne / Batman.
Mhm.
And
And he played Batman in other things before, yes?
nope,
No? Okay,
this is his first time playing Batman.
gotcha.
And
I thought he had like a
people were
video
like,
game
"Oh,
credit to
he's-"
his name or something.
No, I'm hitting the thing on IMDb right now. He's known for playing Father Paul of the Netflix horror miniseries Midnight Mass, for which he received high critical acclaim. And he's done like a scattering of things prior to that, usually TV stuff.
Okay.
Nothing huge. The thing that's really weird, and it's just weird to my ears, is his particular portrayal of Batman sounds really similar to Kevin Conroy's,
Mhm.
but in a way that's not like I don't think he was cast and it was specifically, hey, we need you to do Kevin.
Right. It's
It
almost
was, hey, this guy's voice sounds real similar,
right.
but is like different, but similar.
So you wouldn't even say it'd be like a Keith David taking over Zavala. I forget his name now.
No, because it's way closer
Okay.
to Kevin's performance. But it's weird because I'm told by everything it's not in a way that we're specifically casting a person to be like Kevin, even though Kevin was going to be in this show and all the episodes were written around his voice and all that sort of stuff.
So more like
It's
the dude doing Indiana Jones in the video game now.
No, because he's doing a Harrison Ford impression.
But he's
and
not.
But he is.
Right.
He's gone on record.
Okay.
He's Harrison Ford prepping himself before every session.
Yes.
This is more akin to like, actually, what it reminds me of. Remember I was talking about the Rick and Morty anime?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, that's kind of like what I expect, but it's a totally different actor and like a different vibe.
Okay.
That's what it is for this. And honestly, for me, it's kind of wrecking my enjoyment for the show. And I don't mean that derogatorily. Like, the show seems really well made. The animation is fantastic. The voice cast is amazing. It's this interesting, slightly odd 1930s take on Batman, with gender bent characters. Like the Penguin is a female and all that sort of stuff. So there's like a lot of interesting things that are happening to it. And he's like new at being Batman too, which is always an interesting take, I think. It just comes across, by the time I finished the first episode, which was like an hour long, the first episode, I felt like there was a lot to like about it, but I also just couldn't reconcile in my head
The not Conroy of it.
not
Yeah.
the not Conroy, but kind of Conroy, but different. Like, and I just like, I'm not there yet, and I feel like I need some time to stew on it, and maybe I'll return to the show. Because by all accounts, the show is really good. So for me, it's odd, and I just don't know how to reconcile it.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's not the same thing as like when they replaced the actors in Rick and Morty and they got sound alikes, but are also professional voice actors. You know,
It's going to be the first time we hear something that was previously done by James Earl Jones.
Yeah, which, by the way, we've already heard.
Yeah.
Because it's done by AI.
Well, no. That's not done by AI. Like,
but we've already heard James Earl Jones is AI.
Yes.
And it was in Obi-Wan.
Yeah,
And I
no,
actually
know.
never knew it until recently.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, yeah, they did a good job. Didn't even know. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I want to be into it, but it's off-putting. And maybe it's because I've had fucking 30 years of Kevin.
Well, and you're a fan, maybe? Like, imagine that.
That too. I mean, I like Batman, and I'm more than willing to give a weird alt 1930s Batman take with differences to the villains that are, could be unique spins on classics,
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to spend some time on it and get back to that one. And then because the season wrapped up, I pulled the trigger and purchased the stupid fucking AMC Plus that I have to watch it on. Because of course I can't just fucking buy the episodes, because why? Season 4, Snowpiercer. Man, it's good. I mean, I figured it would be, because we had this odd scenario where they were canceled, but they'd filmed season 4 and it was in the can, and then they was not going to be anywhere. And then it got delisted from TNT, and it got delisted, thank you very much, Warner Brothers, from fucking iTunes and everywhere else that was digital where I'd purchased it. God damn it, Warner Brothers again, you motherfuckers. And yeah, it's good. The story is really interesting in the final season. Those who watched seasons 1 through 3 know that 3 ended in a very interesting space for a show that's set exclusively on a train hurling down the road.
Right.
And yeah, it's really cool shit. And I think they knew it was the final season when they shot it, because it is, slight spoiler, but without spoiling anything, it is red wedding every fucking episode to the cast so far. And I'm like, yep, we are. It's like, okay, yeah, oh, that character's dead. End of that story.
Right.
Oh, that character's dead. Fuck. End of that story. Oh, that character's dead. Oh shit. End of that story. Fuck. We're on episode 3.
Right.
Shit, man.
We're on episode 3, and we already established nobody is safe.
Yeah. I mean, allegedly, and we knew this from the get-go, that the show is supposed to lead into the movie timeline-wise. So we knew from the get-go, basically the train is safe. That's it. But yeah, they are really, really whacking away at the cast. And I'm like, wow. And so it's got this kind of laser focus in this season, which is really cool and intense. Cool shit. Thoroughly enjoying it. I'm about halfway through it, and hope to finish it soon. And it's just a fucking crying shame that you can't just buy this fucking show, because it is such a quality, well-made, well-written show.
Why can't you just buy it?
Because rights, I guess. You can't buy it. You can't buy it anywhere. You can only watch seasons 1 through 4 through AMC Plus. That's it. Can't buy the set. Can't buy an episode. There's no fucking DVDs or Blu-rays. It's ridiculous.
Okay.
Blame Warner Brothers.
I definitely do.
The rights to it. I'm fucking so dumb. And then last bit of stuff. Still watching Freerun. It's been kind of a slow show, easy to get in and out to. It recently got like hella good, and I was like paying more attention, because I was usually like playing some mobile game while I'm like trying to fall asleep, and the show's kind of chill. And the show got really intense and awesome, and I was like, oh god damn. So that's cool. Watched Deadpool and Wolverine with my mom, which all I can say is fuck you, Disney. You might be wondering, huh? That's weird.
Because
Why
it's
is
on
that,
Amazon.
Tim?
Yeah.
No. Fuck you, Disney, because it is the one Apple TV app, iTunes, SharePlay, whatever you want to call it, movie that I purchased that won't fucking share play to my mother on the other side of the fucking state without her also buying it too. Even though I did it with Dune, I've done it with tons of, I did it with Indiana Jones. And then I had to like, I was struggling for an hour and a half to get this share play working to fucking watch it with my mom digitally. And it fucking wouldn't let me do it. And then I fell down a Reddit rabbit hole, and eventually somewhere on Reddit was like, yeah, Disney's being a dick on this one because it made $1 billion and they want to squeeze every last ounce of this thing. So it's enabled and disabled in the fine print when you buy the movie. And I'm like, fuck, that's so dumb.
Wow.
So I paid $60 for 2 copies of the movie, you know, which granted, fine. If I'd seen it in the theaters with my mom, that probably would have cost that with popcorn and all that sort of stuff. But dude, if SharePlay works one way for every other fucking movie and then it doesn't, it just gets right back into this WB fucking rights.
Here was the other thing,
bullshit.
because I looked at it and it was like,
You
oh,
know?
you can rent this in 4K for $30, or you can rent it in standard for $25. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah, it's like a $5 difference. Nah.
right?
Mm-hmm. Super dumb.
Or you could buy it now, and it's like, what is the pricing is so way off on these things.
Agreed.
Oh.
Agreed. Less bits.
X-Files?
Watching X-Files with my wife.
Nice.
And then finally, probably due to the new phone and my new big screen, I got back into reading comics.
Oh, nice.
And I started with the new
doing a
Ultimate Spider-Man.
Comixology or something like that.
Well, Comixology doesn't exist, even though it's still a subscription in Amazon's thing. It's all built into Kindle now and is a much worse experience. Thank you very much. And I will continue saying such until they improve the experience, but they won't. Because Amazon owned Comixology and then they shut it down for absolutely no fucking reason other than to bundle it into Kindle, in which you can't actually buy or purchase or even read sample on a book, and you have to go to a web browser in order to do that and then direct back into your Kindle for your fucking experience. It's terrible. I will continue saying it's terrible. Because Comixology fucking worked. I don't understand why you wouldn't. Like, if you're going to throw it into Kindle, yeah, you're getting me way off topic now.
Yeah.
You get me angry. Stop it. Started the new Ultimate Spider-Man, which is the brand new, fresh take. I probably talked about it when it was announced earlier, maybe last time Christmas, where this is brand new, completely fresh take, not tied to any previous Marvel Universe comic or the prior Ultimate Universe. This is a Spider-Man in his mid-40s, married with children, who then becomes Spider-Man with a dead Aunt May and a live Uncle Ben, who is best friends with J. Jonah Jameson. And that is a wild, interesting dynamic I never knew I wanted. And so I'll just tee up the hook from the end of the first issue, because I feel like that's probably the minimal amount of spoilers I could say on this. So the whole book goes all on about how there's all kinds of interesting nuggets. It's like a day in the life of Peter Parker. He's a managing editor at the Daily Bugle, working underneath Uncle Ben, who is like the editor of the Daily Bugle. And Wilson Fisk buys the Daily Bugle. And there's talks of this memorial about the death of Aunt May and a terrorist bombing by Tony Stark. And I was like, what the fuck? What are you talking about? You know, there's like a mock funeral put on by Father Murdoch, who's, you know, Daredevil or not, I guess, in this universe.
All plausible reaches, though.
Yeah, and there's all these interesting new takes on
like
stuff.
Tony Stark
like,
being a warmongering terrorist isn't like, it's not the reach.
Yeah, but it's weird. It's dropped right in the middle of the comic, just super gently. It's like one line, and you're just like, what? You know? And So the end of the comic of issue 1 is Peter Parker coming home. He's dissatisfied that he's basically being forced to publish these lies in the Daily Bugle after this buyout from Kingpin. And he's putting his daughter to sleep and he's putting his kid to sleep, and the whole issue, there's like a silver orb that is kind of in the background in the Parker's apartment, which is a high rise in Manhattan because he's well employed in this one. And they don't tell you what Mary Jane does, but she seems to be well off in money as well. And there's there's this silver orb in the art throughout this thing. And he's like, hey, his daughter, May, hey, stop playing with that. That's not a toy. Or his kid, or it gets kicked under the table. And you're like, what the fuck is this stupid thing that they're obviously putting attention on? And the end, like couple pages of the first issue, is he goes up on the roof of his apartment and he's like sad, and you can tell that he's like thinking about all the shit that's going on in his life. And he clearly has no superpowers and is not Spider-Man. And he like taps the orb, and the orb opens up a hologram, and he says to the hologram, play it again. And then the hologram changes into Tony Stark Iron Man. And I'm like, okay, I'm paying attention. Go on, comic book that's trying to hook me on issue 1. And the hologram goes on and says, hi, if you're reading this, I'm dead. And you're just like, okay, obviously they kind of set that up earlier with some terrorist attack. And it's like, your whole life has been a lie. 30 years ago, there's a group that altered the timeline, and you're not who you should be. And the world has no superheroes. And inside this is the radioactive spider that was supposed to have bitten you 30 years ago. You're on the top of the list to be a hero again. Like, I'm dead, can't do anything about that, but maybe you can. And it's like, what? What the fuck kind of a setup is that? That's so
a great
wild.
setup.
It's fucking dope, is what it is. The comic's written by famous comic book author Jonathan Hickman, whom, if you haven't heard him of comics, you may have heard he wrote a little thing called Civil War, which was kind of a big deal in the Marvel comics because they made a movie about it. So that should tell you the kind of like, oh, he's got chops going into this new universe. And I tell you, I've read all of them up to the current issue, currently waiting on November's issue. And it is so good and deliciously different. And the art is phenomenally well detailed and gritty in like kind of what you would expect for like an adult Spider-Man in his 40s. And there's like so much stuff that's like totally different about everything. There is a Green Goblin in this one, but it's way different than any other Green Goblin because he's on all the covers as Spider-Man Green Goblin fighting. Slight spoiler, that's a lie, by the way.
I just heard my first dog. Weird.
Oh yeah. They're arguing between 3 neighbor dogs now. So I got ones this way, and behind me, all happening now. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, there's just really cool stuff going on in this storyline. I like the hook that this is a Marvel universe that's only hero is Spider-Man.
Sure.
Because they all got erased or altered for some reason from being the heroes they were supposed to be. And Tony Stark's dead, and he did something with time and somehow got the spider and sent it forward, I guess, in time or something to Peter. And it's like, and he's figuring it out for the first time, but still doing his job at the Daily Bugle and taking his kids to fucking school and stuff. And I'm just like, this is such an interesting, and it's weird because it feels I mean, I've had Spider-Man my whole life, and obviously he's an older character than I am in age, but it feels, even though I don't have kids, it feels like it's written kind of for me at my age now.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And I'm sure it probably feels that way for a lot of other Spider-Man readers too, where it's like, oh yeah, I can totally relate to all these adult problems that he
Right.
has now. And rather than him being down in the dumps about them, he's, having to balance taxes and all this stuff with superheroing for the first time ever. And he doesn't know how to do it. And all that stuff's new and whatnot. And it's just fantastically written. And I can see why it was greenlit as a comic because it's so good. And I encourage others to check it out of this brand new Ultimate Spider-Man universe. And then another smart thing, it's a tiny detail, but everybody's probably seen this from the art of it. The Spider-Man logo is inverted on, like, he has his classic
Yeah.
suit, but it's upside down. So every panel, that it's just a little bit different. And it's almost like it's telling you, like, it's
Right.
okay, this is Spider-Man, but it's upside down from what you know, quite literally. And I'm like, that's actually fucking genius.
It's Man Spider.
Well, no, it's still Spider-Man. But yeah, everything from who calls him Spider-Man to who says the Uncle Ben line, which isn't Uncle Ben, I might say. Great power comes great responsibility. Everything is just so, like, I feel like every couple of pages I was just like, oh wow, that's an interesting wrinkle I hadn't thought of, or oh, what an interesting difference
Right.
compared to all the others and stuff. And it's just really good. It's really well thought out. And Jonathan Hickman is an incredible writer. So, yeah, that's what I've been doing. And you've been seeing anything, sir, you wish to talk about as we
No,
cap
because
off our extraordinarily long
everything is still in its hiatuses because writer strikes, actor strikes, whatever strikes. So nothing's
When's
come.
Lower Decks? Isn't it next week?
I think it actually came out this week.
I don't think so.
The final, because I remember seeing the final season is this is it.
Which is dumb.
Yeah.
Lower Decks.
Yeah, I thought it released this week, but I could be wrong. I probably am.
Lower Decks episode season 5. Thursday, October 24th.
Okay.
It's this
So
week.
It's Thursday. Cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, like everything I've been watching is still waiting to come back, and it's like it's frustrating because it feels like extra long because it has been extra long.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So,
that's true.
I've just been
That's
kind of
true.
catching up and rewatching old stuff or just putting things on. The only thing I sit down and watch, which, again, I said last episode, sports ball, score points, do things, yay.
Is your team winning this year, son?
No, I mean they have, but no, still on a
Okay.
losing record. And then the other team that I'm watching right now is the Dodgers are one game away from the World Series, so yay. Still early in the football season. Hockey just started.
Okay.
So that's about like sports balling. About the only thing I've been making time to carve out and watch because it's appointment TV. It's not
Yeah.
when you can stream things.
You can watch it later, but
right, but you already know the outcome. And it's
wow.
kind of weird,
especially if you have sports alerts.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird being the only person in your backyard hooting and hollering, and your neighbors are like, "What are you doing?" And I'm watching a game that's 2 days old, like it was live.
Yeah. I feel like I talked about this before, but is your area like my area with whoever's team is winning, somebody's fucking setting off fireworks?
It has, especially
Okay.
right now, with the postseason with baseball, with Dodgers. Yeah, every home run or win has prompted some sort of response.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I think that's it. Got through a huge mountain of stuff.
Cool.
Mostly games. Things are on the horizon to talk about.
Not the Forza Horizon?
Lots more to come. I don't think we talked about the Mac leaks, but
No,
they leaked.
And you didn't tell me about your
M4
stick
stuff. Oh fuck. Yeah, because I didn't post an image. Just very briefly, I think I'm at the end of Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. Because Daniel was out and about, not being with me because he had stuff to do, and I took most of the week off to hang with him. And there was less hanging than I anticipated. I ended up playing just Zelda in the middle of the fucking day.
Yeah, I was hoping we were going to do a catch up and have him on, but that never came to fruition.
Yeah, it just never happened.
Yeah.
He was always out. I mean, I basically spent the evenings with him, and that was about it.
Yeah, all good.
So,
but yeah,
didn't
Zelda trolled you with a stick.
Yeah.
And
so
it's
for those who may
sticky.
remember in the work thing, Nate has been making fun of me at the fantastic 10 out of 10 game that everybody should fucking play.
Tunic.
Available on every platform now, Tunic. Because at the very beginning they give you a stick,
right,
to thwack things with instead of a sword, and it's like all haha and funny. And Nate has been routinely saying it's a stick anytime there's a stick or anything remotely close to a stick in any video game, post, podcast, live stream, whatever we're doing together, the time.
It's a stick.
And there's a certain point in Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom where all your shit gets taken away, and the first item you get is a stick, and it literally goes da na na na. It's a stick. And I went, oh my God, I am sending a picture of this to Nate right now. I cannot believe that this game trolled me.
and then hit you with the dad joke right after. And it's sticky.
And then it hit me with and it's quotes, italicized, sticky, hyphenated, like, because it's a stick, it's sticky. And I was like, oh my God, I cannot believe this game's writing right now. But no, I say that think I'm close to the end because I cleared all what would technically be like the core game dungeons, and then they're like, surprise, motherfucker, there's another one.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, okay, it's that kind of game. Got it. I think I'm at the end. So what I'll say briefly on that before we clock off is Echoes of Wisdom is a wonderful, wonderful, amazingly fun and refreshing classic Zelda game that's entirely new, if that makes any sense. From Zelda's necromancy to there's a thing you get late game where you're making these like wind up toy robots of creatures, and you're also doing that in battle with your necromancy stuff. And there's so many wonderfully fun combat puzzles. But since I'm at the end of the game, there are a handful of gripes that are gripey. Number one, there's no skip text function. And that includes going to the item shop or making smoothies, as is the case in this game. And every single fucking smoothie is the same fucking dialogue, and you can't mass make them. So I feel like you spend 30 fucking minutes to make your whole fucking inventory of smoothies, which you need to get through all the fucking combat encounters. And it's a huge fucking time sink, and it's a terrible quality of life thing that I can't actually believe is actually a Nintendo product. Like, to give you, gamers will know this, an idea of the slow dialogue speed in this game, it's Pokemon Red and Blue.
Mm-hmm.
That's how slow the fucking dialogue moves in this fucking game. And it's just text. There's no talking. And it's like, and I'm like waiting to fucking be able to press the A button to go to the next one. Press the A button. And I'm like, oh my fucking Christ. I know what he's going to say because it's the same dialogue every time you go to him.
Right.
So that's a bad quality of life.
That'll
small
get patched.
spoiler.
Yeah.
There's a freedom to go to which dungeon you want to go, but in a kind of segmented way. Like, you get a collection of them in the beginning, and then those are done. And then you have another collection of them to go to, and then you have another collection. And when you get to the third collection, which, slight spoilers, one of them is the fire dungeon. Every Zelda game's got to have a fire dungeon, right?
Mm-hmm.
That dungeon feels wrong in the pacing of the game.
Okay.
Because that dungeon is so fucking ridiculously easy compared to dungeons you just did before it. And I'm like, I kind of feel like this was maybe supposed to be one of the first 2 dungeons you go to. And they kind of just retconned it to be later and didn't fucking change the dungeon. Because, like, prior to that dungeon, you're like, you get into a new dungeon, you're like, ooh, 6 floors. Ooh. You know, this, you get to the fire dungeon. Oh, 3 floors. You get the map. Oh, that's not a lot of rooms in those 3 floors. Okay. So that feels weirdly out of place in terms of, like, you just stomp through that dungeon super easily.
Right.
And I'm like, why? I don't understand.
Like you said, it could have been a weird reshuffling of narrative.
Been like a late shuffle, and they didn't want to change dialogue or something. I don't know. It was weird. To its credit, it has a difficult boss fight, so I'll give it that. And then the last dig I can put at the game is there's a certain point where in the late game where you have so many things and so many necromancy objects and lifty things and fly things and things to get around the environment that it's almost basically broken.
Okay.
In some way where it's like, oh, you're supposed to go up this very difficult trail with all of these things. And in a normal Zelda, you'd like do a thing and not get hurt by this environmental object here and do this. And it's like, I don't have to do any of that. I'm going to summon my flying tile. I'm going to hop on it. And I'm just going to coast over all this bullshit super easily, barely an inconvenience. Which is simultaneously by design and not, because it's like, on the one hand, it's like, well, I guess you'd have to think of that to do that. And it's somewhat akin to how Tears of the Kingdom, it's like, well, you can build whatever kind of thing you need to get out of whatever situation.
Right.
So it's a little bit like that in terms of modern Zelda, but definitely in the last area, it's like, yeah, I see the puzzles you put before me. I'm not even going to do that. I'm going to do this, and then I'm done with the puzzle.
Right.
In like 2 seconds. So it does trivialize some things in a bit, even though the game is super fun and you do feel kind of clever for cheating the game in a way that it actually lets you cheat. So, you know, those would be my gripes. Other than that, it's a fantastic game. I hope whatever the ending is, I'm not there yet, sticks the landing. And God damn it. And I feel with that, we out.
Get forked.
Get forked.
Thank you for listening to a Dynamicworks production podcast. You can find our podcast at www.dynamicworksproductions.com. Feel free to email us at dynamicworks@mac.com.
Dominic Armato, the voice of Guybrush Threepwood, and you're listening to a Dynamicworks production podcast.
The Citadel, Arrival, is the first installment in a series of epic science fiction short stories reminiscent of the Pulp Fiction style. It's a fast-paced story that will take you through twists and turns that you will not expect, until they are thrust upon you with all the force, excitement, and chaos of a plasma cannon blast. The story follows Katarl, a nobody cog in the working wheels of a futuristic society run completely by Megacorp, a corporation that carefully runs and manages the lives of the people living under its sphere of power. On one of Katarl's few and far between days off from work, an outing he had hoped would be fun and relaxing turns into an explosive adventure that drags him kicking and screaming into situations and challenges that will make him question every aspect of his life. Watch this colorful tapestry unfurl as Katarl and his newfound allies find their way through this classic, yet oddly surprising tale of good and evil, where nothing is quite what it appears to be. That's The Citadel, A Rival by author Tim K. Trotter. Available right now on Amazon Kindle Store and iTunes iBookstore for only $2.99.
Now recording.
Okay. Your video is 0 frames a second. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you either.
Mic. Fan sound. But need some of the fan noise.
Fuck.
There's a cat in my room.
Ugh.
Okay, should I start streaming?
If you think that it won't cut the audio quality that I'm presently hearing now, then go for it.
Well, again, got a local record and you sound fine on my end, so.
Yeah, but your local record's been pinpointed by a professional to be the problem.
Right, but I also have local record here, like in OBS and all of that.
Oh, that's right, because you said you were doing another recording there.
Right.
Okay, then do that too, I guess.
Start recording. Start streaming.
Okay.
You just went live. Update your titles.
I hear that. Yeah, I have to do that. Give me a goddamn second.
That should play fun with the stream. Check 1 2 1 2. Okay, I sound crispy.
Check 1 2 1 2 1 2 3.
Cool.
Stream info updated. All right, whenever you want to go for it, I guess.
All right. What else I need to be doing on my end?
I don't know. You do more things on your end than I do.
No, Discord is Discording. Skype is Skyping. OBS is OBSing.
I have my Skype. I have my mic. My audio hijack is rolling. I have
capacity
Stream
is
Manager
flexing.
up. My internet is extra fucking good today. I'm actually getting what I paid for. For once.
Marker?
In 3,
2.
2, 1. Cut in. There we go. Are we out now?
Yeah,
Can I stop recording? Okay. Stopping.